Someone says something, the MC wonders what it was. He gets confused. Suddenly, he wakes up in an empty place. He complains that his head hurts a lot. The guy comments that he smells a strange stench, like something is rotting, and wonders where he is. Then he gets up, he's on top of a building, and when he looks down, he is shocked by the people below. Something isn't right. Looking more closely, he is startled, realizing they seem to be zombies. The boy takes a few steps back, terrified, and he wonders what's happening. He was in the normal world just seconds ago. He searches his pockets for his phone to go online and see what happened, but he can't find it. In his pocket, he finds a bag of chips he remembers buying earlier at the supermarket. All he has left is that bag of chips, and after eating it, he'll rest forever. He wishes he had at least had a girlfriend first. Suddenly, the rooftop door opens. A woman appears out of nowhere. She starts walking. The MC hides so she won't see him. The guy wonders how the zombies got all the way up there and thinks he's dead. But the girl sticks a knife into the water tank and starts using the falling water to wash herself because she's very dirty. The boy is outraged that a zombie would do that. She washes her face, and the MC realizes she's just a normal human. He steps on a rock, making a noise. The girl notices and gets ready to attack. She quickly goes to where he is. The boy greets her. Then he gets punched in the face. The girl points a gun in his face and tells him to start talking. The boy screams for her not to kill him. Indignant, she asks who he is. But the guy gets nervous in front of the girl. His body starts sweating and he doesn't know what to do. The girl is furious at how the MC is reacting and slaps him in the face. Then she yells that she's going to kill him. The boy gets nervous and begs her not to. Suddenly, a creature appears behind the girl, flying toward them. She gets ready to attack, but the girl dodges just in time. The monster almost hits the MC. He is outraged. Something hits the creature. The girl starts shooting it and reflects that this mutant zombie is very tough and the bullets don't hurt it. Since she injured its eyes, now it just walks blindly back and forth. The space is very tight and there's nowhere to hide, so they could end up attracting more zombies. With a giant body and an injured leg, it makes sense that the monster moves slowly. The creature roars and the girl draws a sword. It has several extremely sharp teeth and is designed to deal with zombies. The monster starts moving toward her. From the other side, the MC yells for her to be careful. The girl charges and rips the creature's arm off. All with one quick move. The monster falls to the ground, and the girl wraps the weapon around the monster's neck, finishing it off. She picks up a glowing blue stone and comments that the zombie's core looks very good, then complains that she just took a bath and is already dirty again. Turning to the MC, she asks why he's being such a wimp, then asks which faction he's from. The boy is freaking out and says this is insane and it must be because of the horror movies he watches. This can only be a dream. He starts eating the chips. The girl steals his bag of chips. She asks who the boy is and how he has that precious elixir of life. The MC asks if she also likes chips. But the girl says she asked a question and demands to know what faction he's from and why he has such a precious food. The blades on her skin made him realize this is real. The MC starts screaming, introducing himself as Qin Shuang, just some random guy. He says he bought those chips at a supermarket. Suddenly, a bullet hits the girl's leg. She quickly turns around. Several shots are coming from above, thrown to the ground. Qin Shuang asks if she's okay. The girl reflects that she doesn't know why the mutant zombies are after her, but someone must be behind all of this. From above, a man says that the girl has great skills, and that sending the zombies after her to finish everything was a genius move. Another man agrees and says he's a genius. Another man gets worried and asks the leader what they'll do if she comes after them. But the leader says it's no problem. The bullet has corpse toxin that will end her life quickly. Qin Shuang is concerned about her leg, which looks strange, and the girl says the bullet was poisoned. Even though she's immune to the common zombie virus, that new type of corpse toxin virus is much worse. She's definitely going to die. She explains that the ones who shot them are from the 17th faction, and they want the zombie core she just obtained. If they're caught, both of them will die. Scared, Qin asks what they should do. The girl says she can hold off the shooters while the boy escapes, and he asks what about her. She says that with that wound, which only penicillin can cure, she won't be able to run and will soon become a zombie, but Kid must find her sister and make her run. Ken is confused that a simple penicillin could fight off a zombie virus. The girl gets frustrated, saying penicillin is extremely rare. She says she'll shoot later to distract them, but Kin must escape through the rooftop door while the smoke is thick. She mentions where her sister is, and he needs to warn her. The girl hands Kin a piece of paper. The girl starts shooting, and Kin takes the chance to run. With the paper in his hand, he reflects that she gave her life so he could escape, and he's leaving her behind. In his world, penicillin is something very easy to buy. Suddenly, a system window appears asking if he wants to initiate dimensional transfer protocol. The girl asks what he's doing and tells him to run. Kin asks the system if he'll be able to return after going back to his normal world, and the system confirms. Then Kin says he wants to return to his world immediately. Out of nowhere, he wakes up in a hospital bed. The city is in chaos. In the hospital, doctors and nurses walk through the halls. Kin runs through the halls looking for penicillin. In the other dimension, the girl is sitting on the floor. She reflects that Kin should go find her sister. The man who attacked her says that since she stopped shooting, she must already be weak. Then he tells them to move in and it's time to collect the rewards. Meanwhile, in the normal world, a nurse tells Kin not to run through the halls. He sees several vials of penicillin on her cart. The boy grabs as many as he can and runs out. He shouts for the dimension switch and suddenly appears back in the other world near the girl. He pokes her and asks if she's still alive. The girl yells, asking if he's crazy, and says he should have left already. But he hands her a vial of penicillin and says he brought it for her. Shocked, she asks how he got that. Kin tells her not to ask too much and says it's real penicillin. He also says she's not going to die and they'll get out of there together. He gives her the medicine and the girl hesitates, but accepts the medicine. Nervously, Kin asks if she's feeling any better. After some time, the girl feels better and the toxin leaves her body. She is impressed and asks Shin what kind of penicillin that is. Suddenly, they hear a noise at the rooftop door. The girl pushes Kin in and yells for him to hide quickly. The boy falls into a hole and grumbles that his back hurts and how the girl is really strong. On the rooftop, members of the 17th faction enter. Their leader tells the others to find the girl and says they can have their fun with her if she's still alive. Standing with her sword in hand, she asks if they're looking for her. She says she's been waiting for them. The leader wonders how it's possible that the girl is still alive. Everyone starts running away from the girl. Ken thinks that he probably doesn't need to worry about her anymore. He sees a notebook on a table and wonders what the heck that is. On the cover, it says it's an adult diary. Reading the notebook, he concludes that whoever wrote it is not normal. On July 21, 2080, the diary's owner watched a girl in the house across the street washing clothes. She was beautiful. On July 22 of the same year, the new manager of the company sat near him. She had an incredible body, and then rumors began about a new virus. But looking at that new manager, he wasn't even scared of the virus. Later on, that manager became an enemy. She turned into a zombie that hunted him. The company went into quarantine. He was also locked in his office, not allowed to leave. On July 24, 2080, our virus had infected most of the population and he was down to his last food pack. On July 25, 2080, he reached his limit and decided to go out. He needed to find food on his own. He left. The streets were deserted. In the stores, there were only fights. In supermarkets and pharmacies, everyone went crazy and grabbed whatever they could. He finally managed to get some food and medicine, but saw someone get bitten right in front of him. On August 3, 2080, he wrote that the TV signal had been cut 2 days earlier. The anchor said they were all going to die. On August 17, all the food was gone, but if he left that room, he'd probably be bitten. He was already starving and near his end. In the house across the street, a woman screamed because she was in danger. He saw her screaming and being attacked. She was killed by her own husband. The boy wondered what the man was doing. Then he realized the husband was eating her flesh. He looked starved. The boy had to vomit after seeing that. By August 19, it had been 4 days without food and he was already dying of hunger. But just as he was about to lose hope, someone knocked on his door. It was someone asking if anyone inside had penicillin. The person traded lots of food for penicillin. It seemed that the medicine worked well against the virus. On August 21, he witnessed someone eating a dead zombie. He wondered if that was actually edible. On August 30, he was robbed and all his penicillin was taken. It was his only hope. On September 1, he decided to leave his house even though the outside was full of infected. If he stayed strong, he could keep finding food or do what the man he saw the other day did. When he found the zombie, he pulled out a knife. It was either the zombie or him. There was nothing else in the diary. It was as if he never returned home. Maybe he had died. Now Kin had an idea of what happened in that world. The infected turned into zombies. Another important point. The power of penicillin in that world, it's worth more than gold. But while people there desperately search for the medicine, in his world he can buy it easily. That means he's rich in that world. The leader of the 17th faction points a gun at Kin and says that he has a box of penicillin, the one that saved the girl. He grabs a bottle of the medicine and says that if he brings it to the faction, he'll rise in rank. The leader says he's going to finish Kin off, but the boy shouts that he has more. The girl enters the room and yells for them not to shoot him. Seriously, the leader tells her to stay back or Kin will die. With a weapon in hand, she says that if the man dares to hurt Kin, she'll cut off his head. Then she says their fight has already attracted many zombies, but if the man lets Kin go, they might be able to escape. Everyone there will die if they stay any longer. They return to the rooftop. The man is still holding Kin hostage and the girl orders him to let him go. Angrily, the man calls the girl Shou Yunlin and says she wiped out many of his men, so she's going to pay for it. He quickly fires a grappling hook to the nearest building and pushes Kin towards Xiao. As he escapes, the man says that next time they meet, he'll turn her into zombie food. The girl gets angry while Kin takes advantage of the fact that he's wrapped in her arms. Xiao asks Shin how long he plans to stay like that. At night, there are many zombies on the streets. Xiao looks through a window and comments that they need to get out of that zombie-surrounded area, but they should rest a bit first. But before that, she wants to ask him some things, like who he is and how he has rare items. Kin reflects that Xiao seems nice in this apocalypse, but he needs to be careful with what he says. For now, he needs an excuse. Kin tosses a bottle of penicillin to her. Xiao is speechless. The boy says it's a gift for her, as payment for saving him. Kin says that if she stays by his side, there will be benefits. The girl asks if he's serious. Keen tells her not to be shy and to just accept it. In fact, he can get many more rare things. Xiao is impressed, and Qin confirms it's true. He says he can get all kinds of food. The girl is tempted and tells him to stop talking about food. Then she says she won't agree to protect someone just because of that, especially since he might be from an enemy faction. Qin says he's not part of any faction. The boy says she can see him as someone who enjoys the luxuries of a utopian land. The girl reflects that Qin really seems like someone wise, and as penicillin worked, she owes him her life. So she says she agrees and will keep him safe from now on, but if she finds out he lied, she'll kill him. Happy, Qin says she can call him Brother Shuang. He asks if now that they have a deal, he can ask her a few questions. The girl agrees. Xiao was going to give him a lesson about the apocalypse. The R virus infected 80% of humans, causing a global catastrophe and reducing the world population from 9 billion to 1.5 billion, leaving only zombies. With plant and mineral characteristics, zombie cores can be ingested, turned into potions, or stored for backup energy. Evolution potions are divided into 3 types with a 20% to 35% chance of triggering evolution. The core as an energy source can be used individually or in a matrix. The new R virus adapts quickly and resists modern antibiotics, but older ones like penicillin work well. However, manufacturing it became difficult, and it's now rare. After the world ended, people split into groups like ancient tribes. Where they are, there are 3 small organizations: the 17th Faction, Earth Builders, and the Climbers. The group they saw earlier was the 17th Faction. They are violent criminals who seek rewards in women, even eat fresh human flesh. Qin reflects. He's starting to understand. Xiao comments that this area is full of zombies, and since she has to carry Qin with her, they need to find a place to rest. Then she tells him to go to sleep and says she'll stay awake. The girl stays still. Qin reflects that just looking at her face, you can tell she's a formidable survivor. The boy asks the system to take him back to the 21st century, and the dimensional transition is initiated. Qin opens his eyes. It was all very fast. A woman looks at him closely and seems happy that he's awake. The boy gets up, startled. The girl in front of him asks Qin to be gentle. He calls the girl landlady and asks what she's doing there. She says he ran off like a madman, but the doctor said he'd be fine. She put herself as his emergency contact and will pay for his treatment. The girl asks if he's mad and tells him to let her feed him. Qin is speechless. She giggles and says she'll make him some noodles. The girl says he doesn't have any food there, so she'll go buy some things and asks if he wants anything. The boy gives her a list. After he's left alone, he closely examines the primordial system. It seems the cursor appears on his arm. It's pretty straightforward. There's storage, dimensional jump, and power on. But he wants to know how to activate the power on function and wonders if it needs to be charged. Quickly, the girl comes back full of shopping bags and complains that she's exhausted. Qin gets up to try to help her, but the girl tells him not to move. After all, he's a patient. The girl is Zhang Lakshu, a wealthy heiress. Even if he were blind, he'd know she has a crush on him. But he has no money and can't make her happy, so he doesn't return her feelings. Now he has the primordial system. By traveling between both worlds, he can grow, and with money, maybe the two of them can be together. Someone enters through the door. Zhang Lakshu is startled and asks her uncle Zhao what he's doing there. The man says her father sent him to bring her to a dinner. Angrily, she says she already told them she's not going and that she's busy. But the man doesn't care. Zhao pushes her out and says it's an order from her father. He kicks her out and tells her to wait downstairs. She asks what he's going to do, but the man shuts the door. Zhao looks at Qin. The boy asks if he wants something. Sternly, Zhao says they thought they already resolved everything, but he's still clinging to Zhang Luoxu. The man asks if the money he gave Qin wasn't enough. He tells Qin to be honest if he wants more money, but to never go back to her. The girl's father will never allow the two of them to be together. Qin asks what would happen if he became really rich. Zhao says he knows every man has his dog days, but judging from what he's seen of Qin so far, he'll probably never get that far. Qin goes serious. In the other world, Zhou wakes Qin. The sun has already risen and they need to get out of there. It should take an hour to reach the base. The two of them move across rooftops, avoiding zombies. After some time, Xiao says they've arrived. She throws a rock at a gate. It opens, and both of them go in as Xiao says that's their base. Qin realizes it's a very well-hidden place. From the outside, it doesn't even look like anything's there. But the girl keeps walking ahead and tells him to hurry up. She speaks to a bandaged person named Ru Yu and says she's back with the penicillin. The boy is surprised. It's Xiao's sister. Excited, Xiao tells Ru Yu to take the penicillin and says she'll get better soon. Qin asks if that's her sister and what happened to her. Xiao says a zombie attacked her. She went out to deal with mutant zombies and try to trade cores for penicillin, but she ended up in an ambush. Worried, Ru Yu asks if Xiao was ambushed too and if she's hurt. The girl says she's fine and that she's with a friend who got her the penicillin. Ru Yu thanks Qin and says she owes him her life. Qin gets nervous and says she doesn't need to thank him. He reflects that for two girls who survived so much, this is truly a miracle. Zombies are still roaming outside. Xiao arrives with some food and Qin is happy. He's starving. He starts eating excitedly, but right after, he spits out the horrible food. The girl asks if it's really that bad and says she didn't think it was anything unusual. The The boy asks if they normally eat that stuff. Confused, Sho asks why he's crying. It's really that awful. Kin says no. He just feels really sorry for them. He tells her to stop eating that garbage and wait a moment. Sho is confused and says it was hard to get that. He digs into his pocket and tells her to open her mouth. Kin gives her something to eat. She finds it delicious. That fresh milk aroma and sweet, pleasant taste. Kin asks if she's okay and why she's frozen. The girl makes a sound showing how much she loved the food. The boy says he has more. Immediately, Sho begs him to give her everything. She devours what he gives her, but ends up biting Kin's hand along with it. She lets go and says it's just too good, then asks if he has more. Kin puts all the sweets he has from his pocket on the table. Excited, Sho gives one to her sister. Ryu loves the taste and asks what it is. The girl replies that's a cream candy the boy gave her. Ryu eats it and says it's so good, even makes her happy to be alive. Excited, Sho tells her sister to eat slowly, there's more. Kin tears up, thinking how all of this is so heartbreaking. He gives them lots of tasty food. The girl is shocked and says those are snacks they've only ever seen in books. Impressed, Sho asks if all of that is really for them. Kin confirms and tells her not to worry, he has even more. The girl blushes and gives Kin something. It's a bag full of zombie cores she collected. Kin notices that as the zombie cores get close to him, the mark on his arm starts to burn. Maybe there's a connection. The boy says he accepts and asks if she's sure she wants to give him all that even though it's so precious. Kao says the penicillin he gave saved her and her sister, and the supplies he brought are worth much more than zombie cores. She says she'll pay him the rest over time, but Kin declines and asks where the bathroom is. The girl points it out and Kin heads over. The bathroom is just a square with a hole in the ground. Kin notices the hole is very deep. Even so, he decides to use the bathroom. While examining those zombie cores, there's a connection between the core and his arm. The core enters his skin, and the system notifies him that dimensional jump has been upgraded. Now he can make up to 3 jumps instead of 2. Excited, Kin decides to add a few more zombie cores. But while he's distracted, the cores fall into the toilet hole. When he reaches the point of charging up to 9 dimensional jumps, he decides to save the rest for later. But when he looks at the bag, he realizes it's nearly empty. He wonders where his cores went. Then he looks down at the hole in the ground and realizes what happened. Kin is speechless. He leaves the bathroom sadly and Sho asks what's wrong, but Kin says nothing. Outside, the place is swarming with zombies. At mealtime again, Sho serves that same awful food to them. Kin asks why they're eating that when he gave them plenty of food. The girl asks how he manages to eat such precious food all at once, but Kin tells her not to worry, he still has more. Confused, she asks if he didn't give him all his food. The boy thinks that using the system now would look strange, but he needs more food for 3 people to eat for a few days. Kin says he's a merchant and always has new goods coming in. Sho asks why you didn't tell her that earlier. He answers that he didn't trust her yet. The next day, Kin leaves saying he's going to pick up the goods. Sho tells him to wait and gives him a tiny pistol. The boy asks why the gun is so small and she says it's not about size. It's about power. That one is very strong. As he's leaving, she asks if he needs company, but Kin declines and says he'll be back soon. He walks away. Meanwhile, Ryu gets up and calls Xiao. The girl is surprised that her sister is standing. Ryu says the penicillin worked really well. Ryu asks Xiao to follow Kin discreetly and see where he's going. His actions and appearance don't match this world. He doesn't even seem to know the rules around here. Even if he's been generous, he can't be fully trusted. After walking a bit, Kin thinks he's probably far enough. Then he uses the dimensional jump and returns to the normal world. He gets up from the hospital bed and decides to leave. He can't afford hospital bills anymore. Out on the street, he grabs his phone. He hasn't had a job in months and his bank accounts are almost empty. Even though he thought he was rich, he's still a broke guy. Even so, he needs to go to the market and get things that are rare in the apocalypse. Food and medicine are precious in the apocalyptic world, but he doesn't have any channels to sell it. In the 17th faction, they'll definitely just rob him. Kin passes all that food through the register. Zhao Yunlin is highly skilled, but she can only protect him from zombies. She mentioned another faction being around that could be useful. The cashier gives him the total, 1,054 yuan. Kin returns home. These items should fit in the system's storage. He'll take the chance to pack some extra clothes too. Since each dimensional jump is expensive, he has to minimize costs. He feels sad remembering he lost his other zombie cores. In the zombie world, Sho wonders how Kin managed to disappear. She wonders if her tracking skills are really that bad. She decides to stay put and see if he reappears. Kin appears back in that world with a box in hand. He decides to carry everything himself to avoid suspicion, but then he notices the area is now filled with zombies. Kin wonders what's happening and why there are so many zombies there. He looks at the distance between that spot and the nearest rooftop, but it's too far for him, so Kin thinks it's better to go back. However, the zombies begin to climb toward where he is. The monster approaches him rapidly. Frightened, Kin falls backward. He grabs onto a wire, while the other zombies fall off. Kin asks for a dimensional jump, but the system asks if he'd like an upgrade by unlocking the quick climb skill. The boy says he can't hold on much longer and pleads for a jump. The system says he has 7 skill points and activating that one only costs 1. Kin wonders what kind of system this is and tells it to do the upgrade. The system activates the new skill. Now he can hold his full weight with just one hand effortlessly. He could even walk on the wire like it's solid ground. Kin is thrilled and feels like Spider-Man. Moving like Spider-Man, he walks along the wire. Xiao sees him. She reflects that she thought he was just an ordinary guy, but his skills are clearly powerful. Yu was right to be suspicious of him. Kin lands on the rooftop of the neighboring building. He sees that the original path is completely surrounded by zombies. He'll have to climb somewhere high to find a new way back to the base. He begins using his wall climbing ability to scale the sides of the buildings, thrilled that he still has more abilities he can unlock. Looking inside the building he's on, he sees several zombies. They all become agitated when they spot him. Kin watches them and mocks the zombies since they seem to be trapped inside. But the glass starts to crack. The boy freezes. The glass shatters under the weight of the zombies. They all begin to rush at him. He strikes one in the neck, and its head falls off. Kin wonders when he became strong enough to take out zombies with his bare hands. Another zombie approaches from behind. He strikes it in the neck too, finishing it off. He finds himself surrounded by those monsters, so he leaps to another point outside the building. That was a close one. This world is seriously dangerous. Kin notices he feels lighter and checks his backpack, but it's gone. It fell onto the floor full of zombies. Kin starts crying and wonders how this could have happened. He did all that for nothing and lost even his supplies. He spent all his money on it. Seriously, he reflects this is his only chance to get rich. He can't waste it. So Kim returns to the spot where the glass broke and calls the zombies' attention. As they try to chase after him, they start falling. A good number of them tumble out the window. Kin looks inside and sees that most of the room is now clear. He enters and retrieves his backpack, reflecting that zombies really are fragile creatures. Something catches his attention. He wonders if he actually saw a shadow, or if it was just his imagination. But then a creature appears, smiling at him. It's fast and massive. Kin is paralyzed. The thing rushes at him. The monster slams Kin against the wall. He gets hurt and tries to run, but the creature laughs at him. Kin reflects that the zombie is too fast. He didn't even see it coming. He could escape to the real world, but he'd have to come back again eventually. He has to make a choice. So he tells the system to use all of his zombie cores for an upgrade. He reaches level 6 and gains the skills Fearless Focus and Firm Base. Quickly, Kin dodges the zombie. Now he can see clearly. He's gained quick movements and perfect timing for attacks. He keeps dodging the zombie's relentless pursuit, but she still keeps coming, and even after using all his skill points, all he can do is run. Kin is frustrated. Even with his speed, his stamina is running out. He won't last much longer. If he slows down for even a second, it's over. The boy lands on the ground and looks at the monster. The zombie is closing in fast. Kin grabs a piece of wood and pierces the creature, but the zombie starts shaking and laughing while impaled. Kin complains that it still isn't dead. Outside, the zombies grow restless. Kin searches the zombie's body and finds its core. He's exhausted, but happy he got something out of it after all. Later, Kin returns to the base. Xiao watches and wonders how he managed to escape. His combat skills seem as good as hers. The base's gate opens. Kin enters, excited, saying he brought cool stuff for them. Xiao's sister appears. She's already doing great and asks if Brother Xiong is back. Confused, he asks who she is, since now the girl has no bandages. She smiles and says she's Yu. The girl notices he's covered in blood and asks if he's okay. He says it's just zombie blood. Yu tells him not to lie and says she'll take a look. He agrees. She gets closer, and Kin feels happy. The girl says that if he's not hurt, she's relieved. Then she says he's filthy, and that she's going to clean him up. Kin is confused about the bath. Yu explains that they have little water, so they need to save it. Under the shower, Yu is calmly bathing. Kin is nervous. She asks why he's stalling and wonders if Xiao will kill him if she finds out. Confused, Yu asks why her sister would be mad. They usually bathe together too. Then she tells him to stop stalling and get in. Kin agrees and steps into the shower. He's stunned to see the girl smiling. But then, someone appears right behind him. It's Xiao. Xiao asks what Kin saw. He replies that he saw nothing at all, claiming he has terrible vision since childhood and can't recognize anything even centimeters from his face. Later, trying to change the subject, Kin shows Xiao what he brought back to the base. He reveals a fruit he bought so they can have a balanced diet. The girl is amazed by the banana. Kin asks if she likes that fruit and tells her not to be shy. Just eat it. She eats the banana happily. Xiao gets really excited and says she loves bananas. Kin gets nervous. Yu comments that it's so much food it feels like a dream. Xiao asks if Kin is really giving them all of that and says it's extremely precious. Kin tells her he gave his word. If she keeps him safe, he won't let them down. The girl reflects that she has to keep her word, but earlier, when he was in danger, she just stayed hidden, watching. The boy says he spent all his savings and now needs to think of a way to make money fast. Confused, Xiao asks why he wants money, saying it's just old paper good for nothing but wiping your butt. He explains he meant gold and treasure. His business is trading supplies for things like that. Xiao stands up. She grabs something she was using to prop up the table and hands Kin 3 gold bars, asking if that'll work. The boy is confused until he realizes it's real gold. The girl says that's what it's called, but it's useless here. So she asks if that's what he considers treasure. If so, she has 5 or 6 more of those under the tables. She tells him to take them, since they're worthless to them anyway. That night, the boy goes to sleep happy because he's rich. Someone walks toward him. Kin thinks he's finally rich, and now he can be with Jiang Lakshui. Ryu raises a knife toward Kin. She brings the blade down fast, but someone grabs her hand. It's Xiao, who asks what her sister is doing. The girl says if they finish him off now, everything he has will be theirs. Xiao reminds her that he saved them. They wouldn't be alive if he hadn't given them the penicillin. They can't repay kindness with betrayal. Ryu asks if her sister forgot how they ended up in that situation. Hu Xiaorong earned their trust, then sold them to the 17th faction. If Xiao hadn't stopped her earlier in the bath, she would have taken him out then. But Xiao insists Kin isn't like that traitor. He had no reason to give them penicillin. No amount of their money could buy even a single vial. Kin wakes up suddenly and asks what they're doing there. Dodging the subject, Ryu says she wants to sleep with Kin. He's confused, but agrees. Xiao says she wants to sleep there too. He accepts but says he has to sleep in the middle of the bed. The night passes, and Kin is happily lying in bed. The 2 girls sleep beside him. Ryu grabs a small sickle to strike Kin, but Yunlin knees her hand away. Kin wakes up startled because her leg hit him. He asks what she's trying to do. Seriously, she says she wants to sleep alone with him, and that she'll start sleeping with him to keep him safe. The boy agrees. The next morning, Ryu asks if Qin Shuang is involved. He asks what that means and says he's just a normal guy. She approaches and asks how he escaped the building. Confused, Qin asks how she knows about that. The girl says she has a sharp nose. She smelled it. That building is terrifying and only the strongest survive. She says he must be strong too. Smiling, Qin says he got lost and has to thank Xiao Yunlin for her weapon. It helped him escape. Yunlin walks over and says that means her aim isn't bad. She invites him to practice shooting. Later, they're in a shooting range. The girl asks if Qin is actually aiming or if he has an eyesight problem. She holds his hand and shows him how to grip the gun. Close to him, she tells him to relax his arm and not to stay too tense. He should stay calm while aiming. Then he can shoot. The bullet nearly hits the center of the target. Qin gets excited, and the system notifies him about unlocking the long-range shooting skill. The boy is confused, and the system asks if he wants to upgrade. Qin reflects that he used all the zombie cores. He needs to save up more for dimensional jumps. So he asks Yunlin if she knows where they can buy zombie cores. She confirms, and says there's a trade outpost about 2 kilometers from there. Excited, Qin says they should head over. The 2 of them head out. The girl knocks on a gate. A man inside tells her to come in. They enter, and the man is pointing a gun at both of them. The girl asks if he's still afraid of zombies. The man chuckles, apologizes, and says he's more afraid of humans, then asks what she wants. Qin asks if he has any zombie cores. Seriously, the man asks what the boy has to trade. Qin places some canned food on the counter. The man is shocked by the amount, especially because it's from the 21st century and extremely rare here. Qin takes the cans back and says he wants to see the zombie cores first. Laughing, the man says Qin might look silly, but he's actually pretty smart. The boy replies that he was the one who said humans are scarier. It's smart to be cautious. The man steps away and returns with a sack of all the zombie cores. He has -11 in total. He explains that normally cans are worth 2 cores each, but since these are new, they're worth 4. He should give 12 cores, but only has 11. Qin tells him not to worry and gives him another can, but then he makes a request. He asks the man to get close to the gold bar and see if he recognizes it. The man says he's no expert, but it looks like real gold. Qin gets excited. He says the man seems well connected, so he can help him get more of that metal. Qin is willing to trade food for gold. The man is confused and asks why Qin wants gold, since it's almost worthless here. Qin tells him not to worry, just try to get as much gold as possible. He'll trade whenever the man wants for it. Qin recharges the system. Now he has 24 skill points. He asks to upgrade long-range marksman 4 times. He unlocks a new effect, Calamity Shot. He now has 9 skill points left, but the next upgrade will require 16. The boy picks up a gun and starts firing. He hits every target with ease. Qin asks to activate the Doom Bullet effect. The system tells him he can only use that effect for free once per day. Qin asks how to activate it. The system responds he needs to yell Doom Bullet. Qin complains that's way too embarrassing. Confused, the system asks if humans don't like yelling. It says it tailored the trigger to his preferences. Qin grumbles that the system is so annoying. He looks around embarrassed, grabs the gun, raises it, and yells Doom Bullet. The shot fires at high speed. But outside, Ryu and Yunlin watch in confusion. Qin is thrilled by his new power, but then confused because the bullet didn't affect the building at all. He wonders if it was just a normal bullet. Back at the base, he thinks he needs to study that bullet more. Meanwhile, the 2 girls are preparing supplies for Qin. He's startled and asks if they want help. Yunlin says it's not heavy at all, and it's nothing for them. They're evolutionaries. Qin is impressed. The girl explains that ordinary survivors can't compare to them and few people can successfully evolve. Curious, the boy asks if there's a requirement and if he has a chance to become one. Yunlin looks a bit puzzled, then explains there are 3 ways to become an evolutionary. First, being infected by the virus. If you survive, you might evolve, but that was easier before the virus mutated. Second, by consuming a zombie core. If you don't explode afterward, there's a 10% chance of becoming one. Third, by taking an evolution potion, which gives up to a 30% chance of success. Excited, Kin asks how they can get those potions. Yunlin explains she can take him to the Builders Alliance. They only care about trade, and as long as Kin has something to offer, they'll deal. Kin tells her to take him there. The next day, Kin asks why Ryu isn't coming with them and why it always feels like she dislikes him. Yunlin explains Ryu isn't coming because she has a vision problem. Outside, as always, it's full of zombies. The girl wonders why there are more and more zombies surrounding the base and reflects that it's time to do some cleaning. At the shooting range, Ryu is training and complains that she still can't manage to finish off Qin Shuang. She notices movement outside. It's the building Qin shot earlier. It collapses. Ryu is confused, not understanding why the building suddenly came down. In an alley, a zombie approaches. It gets struck in the head by Yunlin. The girl explains that this is the central road and there are a lot of zombies here. Best not to shoot unless absolutely necessary. She crouches down and opens a garage door. Qin asks if this place is hers too. Yunlin says she has many supply points. It's better if they drive from here. The duo takes off along the road while zombies chase after them. The boy notices they're being followed by the monsters, but the girl tells him not to worry. She asks if Qin is really sure he wants to become an evolutionary and warns that even the best evolution potion can be deadly. The boy says he's not sure if he wants to drink it yet, but he wants to buy one. According to Yunlin, the Builders' Earth Alliance is like a guild. There's no guarantee they'll be kind. He shouldn't reveal too much right away. A zombie slams into the car window. Qin screams in fear. Yunlin says they're red zombies and wonders how so many of them showed up so suddenly. She tells Qin to shoot them down. The boy starts firing. One of the zombies breaks through the car's roof. Frustrated, Qin asks why he can't kill him. The girl explains that ordinary weapons don't work on red zombies. Holding the zombie's arm, Yunlin tells Qin to drive as fast as he can while she handles them. The girl climbs onto the car. She charges at a zombie with her sharp weapon and slices the enemy in half, but many more are closing in. Yunlin defeats them. One by one, she slashes through their bodies and heads, but one catches her by the foot unexpectedly and throws her off the vehicle. She crashes onto the asphalt. The zombies close in fast. Yunlin closes her eyes. She's out of hope. But Qin appears in front of her, glowing with power. He yells at the zombies not to touch his bodyguard. Yunlin is stunned. Qin managed to annihilate all those red zombies. Moments earlier, the boy had panicked. He almost did make it. A minute before, he saw Yunlin fall from the car. He opened the door and jumped out fast. The boy sprinted at high speed toward the creatures, and with swift movements, took down each zombie. He even mocked them for not being able to dodge his bullets. Qin laughs, saying he'll blow all their heads off. Yunlin is shocked by how strong Qin actually is. The boy is excited, collecting zombie cores, but suddenly feels a tremor. It seems his body can't handle such high-speed movement. Qin becomes confused. He can't find one of the zombie cores. Yunlin calls out to him. She yells at him to look around. They're surrounded by zombies. The boy asks where so many came from. Yunlin says she has no idea and tells him they need to get back to the car. The two run back to the vehicle. As Qin fires, Yunlin tells him to conserve ammo. There are way too many of them. Zombies start climbing onto the car and surround it. Yunlin is furious and slams the gas pedal. The car barrels over the monsters. Zombie remains shoot out the exhaust pipe. Qin asks why the car isn't moving anymore. The girl says zombies are stuck underneath the vehicle. They're bogging the car down. And now the vehicle is completely surrounded. The boy asks Yunlin how many bullets she has left. She says not many. He says he has 10. 10 bullets mean nothing against so many zombies. The only skill he can rely on now is Doom Bullet. Qin confirms with the system if he can really use one Doom Bullet for free per day, and it says yes. He asks how many more Doom Bullets he can buy with his remaining skill points. The system replies, each bullet costs 1 point. He buys 7 Doom Bullets, leaving him with 8 total. His weapon is now charged with purple energy. Qin decides to keep 2 points for dimensional jumps. If 8 bullets aren't enough, he can escape back to his world. But he thinks of Yunlin. She wouldn't be able to get away alone. She'd definitely die here. The girl says the car is sturdy and they're safe for a while. Qin fires all 8 shots. Yunlin complains, saying he shouldn't have wasted all his bullets. She tells him to at least save one. It might be useful. Qin asks why he'd want to save a single bullet. The girl replies that you always save the last bullet because no one wants to be eaten alive by zombies. That last bullet is for yourself. In that world, death is normal. She's always ready to meet her end, but she hopes it's the least painful death possible. Qin is left speechless. Time passes, but Qin sees no response from his shots. He's furious. The zombies are still out there. Suddenly, it starts raining. Yunlin comments that at least they don't have to run from the rain. They can only hope something will distract the zombies now. The zombies remain there standing in the rain. Kin complains about the smell. The girl explains that since zombies are made of flesh, when it rains, it produces a disgusting stench. The rain continues. Buckets in the back of the car begin filling up with water. It's almost time to patch the hole. She says it hasn't rained like that in ages. If it keeps up, they'll see something interesting. Kin asks what kind of interesting thing. The girl explains zombies are basically undecayed undead, but the moisture will return to their skin. It's the lack of it that makes them so wrinkled. Their skin will begin to swell, and they'll start to look like they did when they were alive. But it's only temporary. They'll keep absorbing water until their skin cracks open. They won't die, just look more grotesque. Kin groans, saying he's getting nauseous. Yunlin tells him to look outside, quick. They already look human again. She looks at a zombie at the window and wonders if she was like that when she was alive, maybe around their age. If she were still alive and the world was normal. Kin asks what Yunlin would do if the world were normal. The girl is confused. She says she's never thought about that. If there were no zombies and everything was still normal. She says she'd like to be the head of a pastry shop. Then she asks if Kin thinks that suits her. Kin says yes. Lightning begins to strike. Kin reflects that he can't leave her behind. There has to be a way. If he rests, he could use his speed to escape with her. A more intense lightning strike hits. The girl is stunned, saying she's never seen anything like it. The bolt drops fast from the sky and hits a tree, blinding them for a moment. Then another strike hits the vehicle directly, scattering the zombies. Kin is confused, then shocked. The creatures start falling to the ground. All of them die from the lightning's impact. The girl tells him to help move the bodies out of the way. Kin comments that they're boiling. As the sun rises, they finish clearing the path. Kin is happy they survived. The girl agrees. Time passes. They reach their destination. A man reports that a car is approaching and tells someone to alert the boss. The gate guard heads off to wake the leader. The man complains it's too early for visitors. At the gate, someone appears and orders the two to get out of the car. He asks where they're from and if they're seeking shelter. Kin says they're just here to trade supplies. After the pair enters, the leader asks what Kin brought for him. A man places an item Kin offered on the table. The leader inspects it. It's a can of food. He opens the can. The girl complains, but Kin says it's okay. The man is testing the product quality. The leader smiles. His subordinates grow hungry just from the smell. The man takes a spoonful. The guards ask if it tastes good. Yunlin complains he ate the whole thing. The leader grumbles it was gone before he even got to enjoy it. Calmly, Kin says not to worry. He's got more. He keeps eating. Yunlin complains again. He's eaten 8 cans already, and they could have traded that for a lot. Burping, the leader says it's not bad. He's about 30% full. Then he tells the guards they can eat the rest. They start fighting over the nearly empty cans. The leader says it's delicious, and he'll take them to the Lord. He tells someone to escort them to the waiting room. A soldier leads the pair. Inside the settlement, everyone seems peaceful. There are vendors everywhere. Kin asks if all the houses are occupied. The soldier says yes, refugees taken in by the Lord. Without him, they would have been zombie food. Suddenly, a girl is thrown to the ground, and a man starts attacking her, shouting that she stole medicine. The girl begs him to spare her and says she won't steal again. Worried, Kin stops the man and asks why he's being so violent. Furious, the man asks if the boy knows what she did and says the girl stole medicine. Medicine is rarer than food, and stealing it leads to death when the Lord allows it. That girl has stolen from him several times. Fortunately, he caught her this time. The man yells at the girl to hand over the medicine. The soldier accompanying Kin says he doesn't need to worry. In the city, they have their own systems to punish thieves. Kin and Yunlin follow the soldier while the man grabs the girl and says he'll take her to the justice office to decide what to do with her. Arriving in another part of the city, the soldier tells the boys that the Lord is busy that day and won't be able to see them, so he gives them a key to a room for them to wait until the next day. The pair goes to their quarters. The next day, in the middle of the city, an old lady stops a man and asks if he's seen her granddaughter, but he says no. Even so, the old lady keeps insisting and the man starts arguing with her. Worried, the old woman says her granddaughter hasn't shown up since the day before. She asks if anyone has seen her. Kin observes that the lady's granddaughter must be the girl from the day before. The soldier confirms but tells him not to worry because she'll be notified soon. Even so, Kin decides to go speak to her directly and says her granddaughter was taken to the justice office. The old woman becomes desperate and asks if her granddaughter was captured. She screams that it's her fault. She's the one who needs the medicine. The soldier takes Kin with him and says it's almost time to meet the Lord. The old lady leaves murmuring that she needs to go to the justice office. In a huge hall, a man tells the Lord that the merchant Qin Shuang is arriving. He says to let him in. The Lord is shirtless with women and food in abundance. The young man is confused. Then the Lord says his rules are only to trade with people he knows, but they said Qin has very tasty goods. Qin says he has fresh meat and everyone who tried it liked it a lot. He asks if the Lord wants to try it. A guard takes the cans to the Lord. He opens one of the cans and eats its contents. The taste surprises him. The man grabs the other cans. and starts eating them desperately. He shouts that it's delicious and 1,000 times better than the meats he usually eats, then tells Kin to give him all of them because he'll make the trade. Kin gets excited. Smiling, the Lord asks what he would like in exchange. The young man says he wants zombie cores, evolution potion, and gold. He gets confused about the gold, and his guard explains what gold is. Excited, the Lord says he'll make the trade. The man orders his guards to bring Kin what he wants in exchange for the cans. Then the young man says he has one more request. The Lord asks what it is. Kin explains that a girl stole medicine the day before and is at the justice office. He can give them medicine if they let her go. Then the Lord asks the guard if it's true and confirms. He reflects that since Kin is offering medicine to make up for it, they won't have a loss. The man says that after the trade, his guards will take him to the justice office to release the girl. Happy, Kin thanks the Lord. After some time, the guard delivers 10 kilos of gold, 100 zombie cores, and 2 evolution potions to Kin. He reflects that he can gain many new abilities, but he mainly needs to return to the real world to sell all that gold. The young man doesn't know how much he'll get for that gold, but it'll probably be a fortune. Then the guard gives Kin a release order from the city's lord and says he'll take the young man to the justice office. He looks back and wonders where Xiao Yunlin is. She was supposed to be waiting for him. The citizens are all gathered, murmuring in despair. Some is bleeding, and people are watching. Kin wonders why there are so many people at the entrance of the justice office. The soldier orders them to get out of the way and asks what they're doing there. Angrily, he says he'll make the Lord give them more work so they have something to do. Someone says to let them stay there, and says he was the one who called everyone there, and that it's time for people to see the consequences of stealing in the Lord's city. The man tells everyone to look closely. They'd only survive in that post-apocalyptic world thanks to the Lord's city. Everything in the city belongs to the Lord. Defying authority is a capital offense. The girl's grandmother is on her knees crying. Kin is shocked to see that. He crushes the release order from the Lord that he's holding. Behind the man is the body of the girl who stole the medicine hanging. The young man questions what kind of sick joke that is. He stares at the hanging girl and starts shouting at the man. Kin grabs his uniform and asks what he thinks a human life is. The boy says she only stole for her family. The man says he's never seen Kin before and assumes he must be a merchant. Then he grabs the boy's wrist and twists his arm, breaking it. Kin feels terrible pain. The man says that since he's from another city, he'll be forgiven. The soldier accompanying Kin confirms he's a merchant and apologizes for his mistakes. The man brings Yunlin forward and asks if she was with him too. The boy is shocked and asks what happened. Then the man says she was caught trying to break into the prison. Seems she got really angry because they executed the thief, and he's not sure whether they should let her go or just end her life. The soldier explains that those two brought a lot of food to the city and ending them would mean the Lord never tastes those delicacies again. Seriously, the man says he only needs to keep one of them alive. Kin tells the system to upload all the zombie cores. He gains 200 more skill points. He can level up to 3 times with that. The boy asks to do it. The system uses 28 points to raise him to level 7, and 50 more to heal his injury. Kin reflects that the man really plans to kill Xiao Yunlin, and if he captured her that easily, he must be very strong. His best option is to use extreme speed to grab Yunlin and escape. He should be able to hold out until they're out of there. The boy activates his high-speed ability and rushes toward the girl. He passes straight by the man and grabs Yunlin from the guards nearby. Kin tells them to take a break already. The boy is thrilled that his ability can last even longer. Yunlin shouts for him, but the boy tells her not to worry and that they need to escape first. The pair heads beyond the city walls. They stop in the middle of the forest. Kin's energy is drained. The boy reflects that it was a close call. Yunlin apologizes to him, but he says she did nothing wrong. He should have acted sooner. Yunlin says there was no way they could know the man would act so fast, and that she's too weak. She couldn't even fight him. Kin asks if the Justice Chief Kichi is really that strong. She says he must be level 5. He's confused that level 5 is considered that powerful. The girl explains that an evolutionist starts at level 1 and it's very hard to level up. It took her 10 years just to reach level 3. Every faction has an evolutionist for protection, but level 5 is still rare. Some believe that a level 10 could even destroy a city in a single move. Kin reflects that even in the apocalypse, there are still incredibly strong people. He thought that with the system, he could dominate the world, but that will be difficult. Suddenly, Justice Chief Kichi approaches the two of them. Yunlin tells Kin to be careful. He is struck directly by the man. The boy calls for his position, and the man starts hitting him with several blows. Kichi even hits the boy's face. Yunlin screams for him. Seriously, Kichi asks if they were told they could leave the city. Kin falls to the ground, injured. Yunlin tries to charge at Kichi, but he hits her. The girl is hurt, and Kichi grabs her by the neck. Kin pulls an evolution potion from his pocket and drinks it. He begins to feel a burning pain, and Kichi watches. Yunlin becomes worried and asks if he drank an evolution potion. Kichi bursts into laughter and releases Yunlin while Kin screams in pain. The Justice Chief laughs so hard he cries and approaches the boy and asks if Kin prefers to destroy himself rather than lose to him. The man says the boy looks like a writhing insect. Kin screams in desperation. He remembers when he was a child and someone asked why he always got into fights. The little boy said he wouldn't stay with his classmates if they kept treating him badly. On that occasion, his father slapped him and told him to stop fighting at school and stop embarrassing him. The boy says they say he was born but never properly raised. His father walked away with his beer. Years later, his superior told him not to come to work anymore. Kin asked why. The manager replied that it's normal for the boss to invite interns out for drinks and he shouldn't have interfered. Now he should mind his own business. Kin was walking alone at night and saw a man attacking a girl. He approached the men and asked what they were doing, but the man pushed him. The boy insisted and did everything he could to stop the men from attacking the girl any further. The men decided to leave because the police should be arriving soon. The woman thanked Kin and asked them to go to the hospital, but he refused. As he walked away, he told her to leave that place because it was a dangerous area. Chasing after him, she asked him to wait. The girl asked if he had somewhere to go and invited him to an apartment she had. Kin said he was looking for a place to stay and asked how much the rent was. Smiling, the girl said it would be very cheap. At her place, she helped Kin and fed him. Now he was in that apocalyptic world, being beaten by Kichi. The man says Kin looks like a dead dog, seems like the evolution didn't work. Inside the boy's mind, he's almost lost. He's trapped in his memories. The chance of evolving to level 2 is very low. That candidate went too far. Kin tells the girl he helped Jang Lokshu that she cooks very well and should open a restaurant. Happy, she says that if he wants, she can do that for him every day. The boy gets nervous. She gets up and goes to get cake she bought earlier. The girl places it on the table. Kin says it's really tasty and she replies that she heard the chef who made it won prestigious awards. He remembers Yunlin saying she would like to be a pastry chef. He's startled, and Jang Lokshui asks what happened. He comments that he feels like he's forgetting something. Kicha kidnaps Yunlin and she tells him to just kill her already, but the man says he won't do that. But her face is pretty, he could cut her tendons and give her as a gift to the Lord. A hand grabs his shin and knocks down Kichi and Yunlin. It's Kin, who stands up covered in blood. Furious, he says the man isn't going anywhere. He grabs Kichi's clothes and punches him. The man falls to the ground. Then Kin starts pummeling him with punches. Yunlin is impressed. The Chief of Justice is finished on the ground. The girl is worried about Kin. The boy successfully evolved. Yunlin is smiling and says she thought he had died. He laughs and says it's not that easy to take him down. Suddenly, he's hit in the chest. Kichi's hand pierces through him. The girl screams in desperation. Kin is lifted into the air. Kichi says the boy's evolution was a success. Kichi says that even though Kin evolved, he's only level 1 and can't beat him. Kin grits his teeth. Suddenly, something starts happening. Kichi is shocked. Kin's body floats in the air. The man questions how that's possible. He has the golden abyssal physique, something only possible at level 10. Worried, Kichi turns and starts running. He uses his speed ability to escape. The man questions how Kin could use the golden abyssal physique when he just evolved. It's exactly like the last time he saw that happen. Hiden's entire body turns golden. Just by raising his finger, he can use his power. The attack rushes toward Kichi. The man is hit. The explosion is massive, and he doesn't survive. Inside the city, the Lord questions what strange vibration that is and whether some powerful figure is passing by. In Faction 17, the chief also feels the force's vibration. In the climber's support group, the women are startled. In the forest, Kin falls unconscious. Yunlin catches him. The girl is desperate about the boy's condition. She tries to stop his bleeding, but he's losing too much blood. Suddenly, his body heals on its own. The girl is shocked. Then she picks him up in her arms, determined to take him to a doctor. The Lord goes to the forest, but the aura has already vanished. He wonders why such a powerful aura was near him and hopes he hasn't offended anyone. In a hideout, someone bangs hard on the door. A woman opens the door and is pushed back by Yunlin with Kin. She complains that if the girl breaks the door, she'll have to pay for it. Desperate, Yunlin begs the doctor to save the boy. The woman comments that it's strange. Yunlin asks if Kin Shuang is okay, and she says his vital signs are very weak. She doesn't know his current condition. She scanned his organs and found a large area of metal covering the wound site. It seems the metal saved his life, but she's never seen anything like it. Yunlin asks if that means he's going to be okay. The woman says she can't promise because it's strange. The girl asks what's going on, and the woman says to leave him there for a few days. Elsewhere, the chief of Faction 17 orders his subordinates to beat him. They're confused, and the man says he's humiliated them enough. Now it's their turn to get revenge. The man says not to worry because he won't turn on them. The group looks at him, and they start punching their chief. After the beating, the man thinks his subordinates didn't even hesitate to hit him. He knocks on the doctor's door. She opens it, serious. The man tells Dr. Zhao that he's injured again and asks her to treat him. The woman complains that it's the third visit in a month and that he gets hurt too often. He says it's part of his job. Yunlin is startled to see him there. She remembers that the last time she saw him, he threatened her. The girl wonders why he's there and if his faction doesn't have a doctor. If he finds out they're there, he'll probably order them surrounded, so she needs to leave quickly. The man tries to enter, but Dr. Zhao says there's a patient in that room and tells him to go to the other side. Returning to the room, Zhao is startled and asks what Yunlin is doing. She's trying to lift Kin. The woman says he can't be moved, but she insists they need to get out of there. Someone opens the door. It's the man from Faction 17. He pulls out his pistol and shoots, but Zhao throws herself on top of the man. He shouts that those two took out dozens of his men and he's going to finish both of them. The man says he's already sent a signal to his faction. Zhao gets angry and shouts that he can't kill anyone there. He's her patient. If he touches her patience, he should never come back for her help again. She's furious and says she's serious and won't let anyone disturb her patience. The man calms down and says he won't disturb her patience. Then he tells Yunlin he'll give them a few more days to leave and that he'll have people block the entire area. He points at the pair and says that Song guarantees they won't escape. Once they leave, it'll be the end for them. The system informs Kin that he evolved and gained a new talent. The boy reflects he can barely believe he's alive. He lost 3 years of his life to evolve to level 5. Kin is confused and the system explains that to defeat the strong opponent, he unconsciously gave up the energy of his own life. The voice says it never imagined Kin would become an evolutionist purely through willpower. He asks who's speaking. The voice says it's an old man and that his evolution will unlock more functions in the system. Kin is still confused and asks why he was given the system. Then the voice says it believes he can take it all the way to the end, and at the end of the road, they'll meet. The day passes. Dr. Zhao says it's pure magic. He was fully healed in just 1 day. She's never seen someone recover so quickly. Yunlin asks why he hasn't woken up yet. Zhao agrees that he should have already woken up and thinks maybe he needs some kind of stimulus. She punches the boy, who wakes up startled. Kin asks if she's a monster and why she did that. The doctor says he's recovering well. Yunlin tells the boy to put on some clothes. Sometime later, Kin asks if the members of Faction 17 are surrounding them and Yunlin confirms. She says she could normally fight Song, but she's still injured from the last battle. Angrily, the boy says he's going out to take care of them. Yunlin says she'll go with him, but Kin tells her to stay and focus on recovering. He smiles and says he can handle them all on his own. Outside, a man asks Song why they don't just invade and finish off the two of them, and he responds that he promised to Dr. Zhao. Another man says the doctor must go out to buy medicine, and they can take advantage of her absence to get them. Excited, Song says that it will work and tells them to follow that plan. He orders the men to grab their weapons and take down Kin, but to leave the girl alive. Suddenly, the doctor's door opens. Song is confused. It's Kin standing there, and he says they have no reason to come over because he already came to them. Seeing the boy, Song is furious that he dared to show up and orders the men to finish him. But several energy beams begin to surround Kin. He looks confident. The status panel is activated. Kin can now see the power level of his opponents. All of them are level 1, except for Song, who is level 3. Meanwhile, Kin is level 1, a perfect evolutionist, and the system uses his abilities to increase his speed and strength, raising his chance of victory to 90%. He quickly starts moving among the enemies and hitting them, until he reaches Song and punches the guy. All the men fall to the ground and Song is left speechless. Angrily, he says that the last time he saw Kin, he was just an ordinary human. The boy says that if he had used weapons, everyone there would be dead, but you will give them a chance to live. Kin orders them to kneel and bark like a dog. At the merchant's hideout, he says that's all the gold he managed to gather. Kin says it's exactly what he wanted and gives him several cans of food. The boy leaves and tells the man to keep stockpiling gold for him. The man is confused that Kin wants gold. Usually people trade food cans for zombie cores. Kin now has 20 kilograms of gold for himself. He tells Yunlin that he's going out to get supplies. He's going to search for more food and water. Then the boy requests the dimensional jump. He wakes up to someone knocking at the door. He opens it. It's Jiang Luoxu, very worried. She hugs Kin. The boy asks why she's so nervous, and the girl says he disappeared for days. He makes up an excuse and says he was busy with some business and had no cell signal. The girl gets upset and says he needs to let her know when he's going to disappear. She was about to call the police. Nervously, Kin says he understands. Then he says he's going to give her a gift as an apology. Jiang Luoxu says she doesn't want anything and that he shouldn't spend money on her. Kin tells her not to worry because he made some money in the last few days. They should go shopping and she can choose whatever she wants. The two go to the mall. Jiang Luoxu says they're in a very expensive store, but Kin ignores her. He tells her to pick anything she wants because now he has money to buy several of those. Jiang Luoxu asks how he got so much. Speaking with the clerk, Kin asks her to show him the best merchandise. She hands him a pearl necklace. Kin puts it around the girl's neck. She kisses him on the cheek and says she liked it and that she'll love any gift he gives her. The boy says he'll take it and asks the clerk to wrap it up. Kin says he'll go to the bank quickly to deposit a few things and will be right back. At the bank, the boy asks if they buy gold and the woman confirms, asking how many grams he wants to sell. The boy opens his backpack for the banker. In a separate room, the manager comes rushing in. He apologizes to Kin for making him wait, then asks to see the gold he brought. The boy tells him to check inside the backpack. He's shocked by what he sees. Kin tells the man to test if it's real gold and says it's 20 kilos. After some time, the manager asks Kin to sign a document to complete the exchange. As Kin leaves, a bank employee asks the manager how much they pay the boy. The man says the gold had 99.6% purity, worth 6.6 million in cash. Kin returns to the luxury store and is startled. Jiang Luoxui is arguing with a woman. She says the necklace is hers, but the woman says she hasn't paid yet, so she has no right to it. Kin asks what's going on, and Jiang Luoxui says that woman stole her necklace. The woman hands money to the clerk and says she wants to buy the necklace. But Kin hands over a piece of gold and says he wants to buy the necklace. That piece of gold could pay for dozens of those necklaces. Angrily, the woman says that gold must be fake. The clerk says the necklace was already reserved, so even if the woman pays first, she can't take it. She wraps the jewelry and hands it to Jiang Luoxui. The woman storms out of the store in fury. Jiang Luoxui tells Kin they should go to the market to do some shopping, and he agrees. Someone hits the boy with a can. It's a group of men with mean faces. The woman sent them after the couple, and one of the men is outraged that they stole his girlfriend's necklace. The group approaches angrily and says they're asking for trouble. Kin pulls Jiang Luoxui behind him. The girl tells Qin Shuang to run, but nothing happens. The boy turns and tells Jiang Luoxui they should head to the market. She asks where the group is. She looks and sees all of them lying unconscious on the ground. Qin says he doesn't know what happened. Jiang Luoxui and Qin shop peacefully until the girl's uncle shows up. She asks how he knew where she was and if he put trackers on her phone. The man asks if she already forgot what she promised her father. He tells her to go home with him. But Qin steps in front and says she doesn't want to go back with him and tells the man to leave. Angrily, the man says Qin is useless for Jiang Luoxui. Her father is already looking for a decent husband for her. Once he finds one, she will get married. The man asks Jiang Luoxui if she remembers what her father said he would do if she refused. Her father said he'd get someone to buy Qin and throw him in the river. Lowering her head, Jiang Luoxui says she understands and will go back with him. But Qin tells them to wait. He asks if Jiang Luoxui could be with him if he became rich. Mocking him, the man asks if he means having more than 6 million in the bank. Then he tells Qin to stop dreaming and to come back when he makes 600 million in a year. Qin starts thinking about the 600 million and concludes he needs that amount to have Jiang Luoxui. He will gather that sum and go after her. At base G04, a man asks if the soldier found it, and he replies yes. The Earth Alliance wants thousands of black crystals in exchange. The man gets angry at the absurd amount and asks if they're trying to drain his blood. The soldier says that if he can't offer that amount, they told him to forget it because they'll sell to someone else. Meanwhile, the man reflects that although it's very expensive, if he manages to buy it and gift it to the right person, he will gain great support and everything will be his. The man says he'll do it and orders the soldier to fetch what he wants. Far away, Qin says he's back from the trip. He's loaded with bags and suitcases. Yunlin is surprised he came back with even more things. Qin starts listing what he got. Confused, Yunlin asks why he bought so much flour. The boy says it's to make desserts for them. He says he remembers she said she wanted to be a pastry chef. The girl says her mission is to protect Qin and no one has time to make desserts. Qin steps closer and says she still hasn't fully healed from her injuries and should rest at the base. Smiling, Ruyo says she's going to hit the road with him and Qin agrees. But Yunlin steps in and says that's not going to happen. She asks her sister what she's plotting and if she wants to get Qin killed on the road. The girl asks why Yunlin thinks she'd be so cruel. Ruyo says she doesn't want to freeload anymore and will cooperate with Qin Shuang this time. The boy says they'll leave the next day. Qin arrives at base G04. He wonders why the entrance is so narrow and Ruyo replies that it's easy to defend and hard to attack. It's better that way against zombies and enemies. Inside, 2 men carry a box. The chief asks if that's the treasure and orders them to open it for him. Inside is his stone staff. He says it looks like an ordinary item and questions if it's fake. When he threatens to touch it, they shout for him not to. That staff is poisoned. Even an evolutionist can be affected within minutes of contact. Even a level 5 evolutionist can only hold it for a maximum of 15 minutes. The man is shocked that it's so toxic and wonders why anyone would want it. Then he asks if they confirm the item's authenticity, and the soldier says yes. They tested it on 5 non-evolutionist individuals. They all mutated shortly after touching it. The man is pleased and says he feels better when his subordinate takes care of things for him. Someone calls for the commander and says 2 traders just arrived and want to make a deal. They have a bag full of canned food. He gets excited and says that's a lifesaver, especially since he's broke. Qin and Ruyo wait for the commander, and the girl tells the boy she's never been to that base. He replies that he needs money fast and she doesn't mean to be afraid. Excited, the commander arrives apologizing for making them wait. He says he heard they brought items to trade and asks if he can see them. Qin opens the bags and shows him. The man is stunned and says that just one of those cans is worth a fortune. There must be nearly 100 there. He signals his guard and asks what they want in return. Ruyo says they want zombie cores, gold, and also jewelry. The soldier shuts the door. Ruyo asks why he did that. Smiling, the commander says it's nothing serious. He just wants to discuss the value of everything properly. Then the commander orders his soldiers to seize the duo. Ruyo asks why Qin is just standing there and yells at him to run. He takes a deep breath and questions why people in the apocalypse are like this. He just wants to do business peacefully. The boy moves through the soldiers with super speed, leaving them shocked. He climbs the wall using his hands against the rock. His leg strength now also allows him to make powerful jumps. His movements have also become very precise, and he can land strong strikes at high speed. In the blink of an eye, he can take down his opponents. The commander is speechless after seeing Qin defeat all his soldiers. Ruvio wonders how Qin Shuang can be so powerful. In desperation, the commander says it was a misunderstanding, but Qin doesn't want to hear it. After being beaten, the man complains he's in pain and says he made a mistake. Qin asks why the man made him do that and says he doesn't like it. Then the commander says he'll give him whatever he wants and make the trade he desires. Angrily, Ruvio asks if he really thinks they'll trade after setting them up, but Qin says they will. Ruvio asks if he's an idiot and how he can trust that man. Qin says he's realized that in that apocalyptic world, there are many wolves in sheep's clothing, but if they're tamed, business can work just fine. The commander agrees and says that for masters like Qin, there's only respect. Then the man guides the duo to show them the resources for the trade. He shows them the box they recently received. Qin asks what that is, a broken stick, and says that's not what he asked for. Nervously, the commander says he spent all his savings on that stick, so he has no choice but to trade it. The man assures him that the stick is unique and a precious treasure. Using it can increase damage. He tells Qin to try it out. The boy begins to pick up the stone staff, asking if it's really that powerful. Meanwhile, the commander reflects on how stupid the boy is. In 5 seconds of holding that item, he'll be poisoned. He smiles, certain that Qin is already dead. But Qin stops and tells the man to test it. Trying to dodge the situation, the man says it's better if Qin tests it himself. The boy refuses and tells him to test it. The commander hesitates and Qin asks what's wrong. Qin grabs the staff with a cloth and tells the man to hold it. He backs away terrified. Furious, Qin shouts at him to hold the item with his bare hands. The object falls near the commander's foot, and he is terrified. Qin asks why he's scared. Does he think the boy doesn't know what that is? The boy says he gave the commander a second chance, but he didn't value it. So if that's the case, he won't be able to blame him. Ruvio tells Qin to kill him. The commander tries to say something, but Qin grabs him by the neck. He tries to beg for his life. Qin stares at him with hatred. He remembers the girl he saw hanging. The man tries to breathe but can't. Qin sees the Justice Chief Kichi asking him if he's enjoying the feeling of holding a life in his hands. The boy is startled and lets go of the commander. Then Qin turns his back and tells Ruvio to grab their stuff because they're leaving. The girl asks why Qin doesn't kill him, since he tried to take them out earlier. She asks if he just doesn't want to see the man suffer and says he could simply poison him or cut off his head. Qin turns to her, angry, and tells her to stop talking. Then Qin takes the stone staff as compensation for the commander trying to kill him. Ruvio reflects on how the boy is a coward because he can't even kill someone. He has several abilities, but they're useless. That boy can't protect her sister. As they leave, the commander asks them to wait. Nervously, he asks if Qin can save his base. Angrily, the girl asks if he thinks they work for charity. The commander begs for their help and says that if they do it, they can take whatever they want from the base. Worried, the man says they are on the brink of death, and if no one helps, the base will be destroyed. Ruvio asks if he's still trying to fool them and says the man is asking to die. The man says that to get a level 5 evolutionist to help them, they sent many supplies, but the others still want more, and now they have nothing left but to steal. He asks Qin to follow him and says that if he sees, he'll understand. The man shows the duo. There are several burned bodies in a ditch. Then the commander says those were his men, all killed in just one day. Qin asks why, and the man replies that every day they lose more men, and it's not due to outsiders. It's all because of the base leader. To avoid the spread of disease, they need to burn bodies daily. If you get too close, you can feel your stomach turn from the smell of burning flesh. Ruvio asks if their leader is insane and says that if he keeps going, he'll wipe out everyone in the base. The man agrees and says that's why he decided to bring down the leader. Qin asks if that's why he spent so much money trying to get a level 5 evolutionist, and he confirms it. But one level 5 isn't enough, they need at least 3 together. Their leader is a level 7 evolutionist. The base leader walks through the streets, killing and terrifying people. With just one move, he can take anyone's life. He says everyone must die. At the base, the men gather before 2 other evolutionists, and one of them says the third level 5 is missing. He asks the commander if he's trying to trick them. The commander says no and insists he'll explain. He doesn't have another level 5, but he has someone who can transcend levels. The evolutionists look confused. One of them asks a soldier if it's him and says he's nothing but a level 4. But the man says the super evolutionist isn't him. The commander introduces Qin Shuang and says he's very strong. The man stares at the boy and asks if he can fight a level 5 evolutionist. The boy says he's done it before. Then the man bursts into laughter, saying that's an absurd joke. Seriously, he says Commander Lai has been fooled by a child. And ever since the apocalypse began, no one has managed to surpass level 3, and Qin thinks he can surpass level 4. The boy says that the last time he fought a level 5, he really did get lucky and isn't sure about his ability to surpass levels, but he's willing to try. He says that if he loses, he'll give up. Qin adds that if he loses, he'll also compensate the man with 100 cans of food. He asks what the man thinks. The boy is wearing a glove that blocks poison. Commander Lai tells them not to waste energy and asks them to forget the fight. But the evolutionist says if Qin doesn't prove he can surpass level 4, he's out. He won't risk his life for a kid. Sometime later, Qin reminds the man this isn't a fight to the death, it's just a competition. The man agrees. They stand face to face. Someone signals for the match to start. The man charges at Qin, but the boy defends himself with a poisoned stone staff. The staff echoes. Qin reflects that punch was really strong. Besides that, the man is very fast. He'll need to use his best ability right away. The man says Qin can move a little, dodging some of his punches, but he's still far from surpassing level 4. The man knees him. Qin falls to the ground and wonders if all level 5s are monsters. The boy runs away and the man yells for him to stop dodging like a coward. Qin looks back and sees the man getting closer. This is his chance. He's going to end this in one strike. The boy charges forward with the stone staff and hits the man, but he doesn't react. Qin asks how it feels, if it hurt a lot, then says that move is called Bloodline Annihilator. The man remains still. Watching everything, Commander Lee asks the other evolutionist if his older brother is married, but he replies that the commander shouldn't worry, his brother will handle it. Concerned, the commander says that staff is toxic and asks if the man's brother can withstand it. The man is enveloped in a blue light and throws the staff far away along with Qin. Qin crashes hard, breaking the ground. The man charges at him and punches him in the face with a powerful strike. From above, he tells Qin that he lost. He says the boy has an impressive skill for someone at level 1, but beating a level 3 or a weak level 4 isn't impressive. Even so, throughout the entire fight, Qin only used brute strength and no technique. The man tells him to go home and train more. The man calls his brother to leave, and the commander panics. Then the man tells the commander they'll keep their word, as long as the third level 5 shows up and not just a kid. Someone laughs and says he's right. It's a strange person who says that Brat is useless and Commander Lai should have called him instead. Qin is shocked because the creature has stolen his staff and glove. The person says Qin is using the staff the wrong way. The boy freaks out and yells that the zombie is talking. The person gets offended and shouts that he's human. Qin apologizes and says he spun his head too fast, which confused him. Commander Lai is happy to see his brother Hao Jummi and asks if he's decided to help. Hao Jummi says he's not there for them, but for that lovely staff he's been searching for so long. Qin complains that the staff was given to him. Outraged, Hao Jummi asks the commander if that's true. The commander says he bought that staff for Hao Jummi with a lot of money, but he should accept helping them. Please, the weirdo says then he'll accept. The commander asks Qin to calm down and says he had no choice, but if the boy decides to stay and help, he will be rewarded. Qin says he can stay and help, but on one condition. The boy says that once this is over, all trades made by the base must go through him, and he will be the sole supplier. The man says the base needs food and medicine and asks if Qin can provide everything. Qin confirms and says he sells everything cheap, they just need to give him gold. The commander says that sounds like a good deal and agrees. The level 5 evolutionist is in some pain, but hides it. Later, everyone is gathered, and the commander says he's grateful that they all agreed to help. Now he will explain the plan. To help communication, the commander starts with some introductions. One of the evolutionists introduces himself as Fang Wu. He has the ability to make himself bulletproof. His brother introduces himself as Fang Wen, level 5. He can freeze anything he touches. Hao Jummi introduces himself. He is also level 5 and giggles. Qin introduces himself and says he's level 1 and has the ability to gather energy. Ruoyo says she's level 2 and can calculate like a computer. The man begins explaining the capture plan. The leader of their base is Yi Yi, and he is level 7. His ability is to liquefy his body. That ability makes capturing him difficult. The plan is to lure him into a secret room first. Hao Jummi will release gases to paralyze his nerves. Fang Wu, Qin Shuang, and the guards will restrain him while Fang Wen uses his freezing ability. They'll then activate the mechanism. He'll be sealed inside a special box. Fang Wu says the plan seems fine, and Hao Jummi laughs that they've discovered his special ability. The man asks when the plan will take place. The commander says they can't afford to lose more people. They'll move forward with the plan the next day. The next day passes. Commander Lai manages to lure the leader. As soon as they reach the mysterious room, the door closes. The leader asks if Commander Lee plans to kill him. The leader attacks the commander with a fluttering liquid, but Fang Wu steps in. He tells Lai to get back. The leader is angry. Hao Jummi tries to strike him from behind with his staff, but he is blocked. Qin pulls him away just before he's hit by a blow. Hao Jummi thanks the boy and says he should have been nicer to him. Qin yells at him not to touch him. Fang Wu tries to punch the leader, but he's stopped, and the leader manages to cut his skin. The man is shocked that something could break through his defense. The leader says that high-pressure, high-speed liquid can penetrate anything. Fang Wen approaches the enemy. He freezes the liquid the leader uses to attack, and Fang Wu throws him far away. The leader becomes furious and attacks Fang Wen, but Qin moves quickly and rescues him. As he goes to strike the leader, Fang Wu shouts for him to stop looking around and focus on him. The man punches the leader. He yells that the leader's form has broken. This is their chance. Fang Wen says this is the moment. Qin quickly takes him to Yi Yi. The evolutionist begins to freeze him, but he's blocked by a whirlpool of water. Kin asks if he's dead, but the man says no. It looks like the leader dispersed to escape. The liquid hits the floor. Commander Lai yells for the guards to protect the door and not let Yi escape. Then the leader begins to reform. He's surrounded by liquid. Fang Wen wonders what he's doing. Lai grows nervous, recognizing the move Yi is about to use. The commander shouts for the soldiers to hide behind their shields. Yi begins to unleash a cutting attack in all directions. It penetrates even the shields. The captain is hit. Fang Wu shouts for everyone to hide behind him. Yi keeps attacking. Lai yells that they broke through. Now is the moment. That move drained much of Yi's energy. So Yi will remain in liquid form for 10 seconds. It's Fang Wen's time to act. Kin rushes him in close. The man starts freezing the leader. Yi begins reverting to his human form. Fang Wen says with 10 seconds he should be able to freeze everything. Yi is surrounded by ice. Fang Wen finishes the job. Kin says it looks like it worked. They remain silent, staring, but the ice begins to crack. Desperate, Fang Wen shouts that he's breaking free. Hub Junmai steps in and tells Fang Wen not to worry, he's here. The man injects a liquid into the ice. His toxin can spread through the entire body. With a creepy grin, Hao Junmai says Yi will sleep forever, and without his antidote, no one can escape. Finally, a solid block of ice forms. The captain says it worked. The leader has been defeated. That night, in a hall, the commander and the others celebrate the victory in battle. He thanks everyone for their help and says the base is finally free of that tyrant. To show gratitude, they prepared plenty of food. Kin eats happily. Lai also says he invited some beautiful women to chat with them. Kin and Fang Wen get nervous. Hub Junmai seems excited, but when they see how beautiful the women are, everyone gets really enthusiastic. They chat. A woman asks Shin if he's the hero of the base and says he's very young. Ruyo watches and reflects that men are all the same. Later, everyone is drunk and the commander tells them to be taken to their rooms. Two women help carry Kin to his room and place him on the bed. They comment that he's cute for getting drunk so easily. One of them notices he's sweating a lot and says he needs a bath to cool off. While chatting with two girls, Fang Wen says Captain Lai really understands him. They decide to spend the night talking. In another room, Hao Junmai giggles and comments that the girls Lai brought are gorgeous. They get startled because he's so strange, but the man says he's not going to hurt them. In Fang Wu's room, he sends the girls away and says that's enough, they can leave now. Then he shuts the door in their faces. In Kin's room, the girls wash him with a damp cloth. One of them says it looks like he'll sleep through the night. The commander told them to take good care of him. They decide to finish cleaning him and leave so he can rest. But something catches their attention, and they decide they'll stay and keep Kin company through the night. In the morning, someone slaps Kin in the face. It's Ruyo. She says he had too much fun last night, and it's time to wake up. She asks how long he plans to stay there. Pulling him by the ear, she orders that pervert to get up. They start yelling inside the room. Fang Wu and Fang Wen walk through the corridors. Fang Wen is having trouble with back and leg pain, and his brother asks if he's okay. The young man confirms. Commander Lee asks if the group is leaving so soon and whether they don't want to stay a few more days. But the brothers say they have other jobs to do. Kitten says he'll get the supplies the base needs and should be back in 3 days. Hao Junmai says being a merchant is too little for Kin and asks if he doesn't want to join him. If Kin follows him, he'll teach him a way to evolve levels quickly. Fang Wen tells Kin not to trust him. If it were that great, Hao Junmai would have already evolved more. He also says he once saw Hao Junmai with a younger boy and asks where he is now. Fang Wu tosses something to Kin. He asks what it is. The man says it's a walkie-talkie so they can stay in touch and that their organization needs talents like Kin. If he wants in, all he has to do is speak into the device. Then they say goodbye. 3 days later, a man announces to the new leader, Lai, that Qin Huang has returned. The man asks if he brought the supplies. The soldier says it's better if he sees for himself. Qin brought 3 trucks with him. Lai is speechless. He asked for a lot, but Qin really delivered it all in 3 days. The boy tells Lai that he brought everything and asks him to verify it. They organize everything. One of the workers says he's never seen so many supplies. With those resources and fertilizers, the base will be self-sufficient. No one will go hungry anymore. Li asks Shin if he's a god and how he managed to get so many supplies. Qin changes the subject and tells Lai to just pay what he promised, and he'll always bring whatever is needed. A soldier hands a bag to Qin and says that's his reward. The boy asks why it's so little if he brought 3 trucks. Then Lai says that's a bag of black crystals, far more valuable than the zombie cores he had originally promised. Qin holds a crystal, and the system informs him that one of them can carry 100 ability points. He's shocked that such a tiny piece holds so much potential. It's 50 times better than a zombie core. Lai says he also has the gold he promised and calls Qin over. The man says they searched, but couldn't find much gold. He opens a wooden crate full of gold bars and asks if it's enough. Qin says it is and thanks him. Later, in the hideout, Qin tells Yunlin and Ruyo that he'll be gone for a few days. They agree. The boy returns to the real world with his box of gold. It's much heavier than his previous backpack. Under the lid, Qin finds a painting. It looks like an old piece of art. He tries to read the name, but it's in English. Qin reads the name Picasso and concludes it's a strange name. He hangs the painting on the wall. Another day, Two men observe a painting. One of them says the piece is quite weird, and the 200 million he spent on it was worth it. Another man says that Jiang Luoxu is on the blind date they arranged for her. The man tells Uncle Zhao to keep an eye on his daughter and not let her cause trouble. Zhao agrees. Zhao asks what he should do about Qin Shuang. They still haven't tracked the source of his gold. He suggests they could contact the police. The man says Zhao doesn't need to call the police. He himself authorized the gold purchase. That boy has good connections, and they need gold. But Jiang Luoxu must not end up with him. The man wants a capable, worthwhile son-in-law. At the blind date, the boy meeting Jiang Luoxu asks if she liked the restaurant he picked. She says yes. He comments that her father said she's been spending too much time at home and invites her to his family's island. But Jiang Luoxu says it's not necessary. She's not interested. Trying to persuade her, the man asks where she'd like to go. Maybe a trip to another continent, but she refuses. Serious, she says she'll be honest. She only came to the date by force. She has no interest in keeping in touch with him. Jiang Luoxu stands up and says the boy is a playboy, so since they finish eating, she won't waste any more time. She walks away. The man, irritated, comments that she was ungrateful. At night, Jiang Luoxu returns home. Her father is there and says he heard about her dinner. Angrily, she asks why he's there. The man asks if she won't even call him father after everything. Jiang Luoxu tells him to leave, he has nothing to say, and if he shows up again unannounced, she'll call the police. Her father says that if she keeps scaring everyone off like this, she'll drive away all the candidates from prominent families. Furious, Jiang Luoxu shouts that he's only treating her like an object for his own gain. She already has someone she loves. Sternly, the man says that boy is a nobody and won't make her happy. Besides, he doesn't want to leave the business in her hands. Jiang Luoxu asks how he knows Qin isn't qualified and reminds him that he was a nobody in his youth. She doesn't care about the business, she just wants to be happy. The man asks if she'll still act like this even if it means Qin Shuang's death. If she doesn't obey, the boy will disappear. The girl says her father is driving her toward death, just like he dragged her mother to hers. That's his goal, to do the same to her. The man yells at her to shut up, but Jiang Luoxu yells back saying that's who he is. He drove her mother insane. He slaps her across the face. She looks at him with hatred. Meanwhile, Qin is in his room, writing a shopping list. When someone rings the doorbell, he wonders who it could be at that hour. It's Jiang Luoxu. He asks why she didn't call him. He was planning to visit her the next day. Excited, he says it won't take a year, and he'll soon have enough money for her father to accept him. She kisses him. The boy gets nervous. She gets closer. Qin pulls back and asks her to wait. He asks if something happened, if it was her father. The girl tells him to forget all of that for now and focus only on her. Jiang Luoxu draws near and says she missed him, and that he should hug her tight. Later that night, Qin is nervous in front of Jiang Luoxu. She asks for his help adjusting her outfit. He helps her. She lies down on the bed happily and thanks him. Qin is shy and reflects on how beautiful she is. The two decide to spend the night talking to distract themselves and pass the time. Lying in bed, Qin reflects that he's 20 years old and has never had a good life, but now everything has changed. He is Jiang Luoxu, someone incredibly kind to him. He reflects how lucky he is that someone like her likes an ordinary man like him. From now on, it's his mission to bring her happiness and protect her. When he looks over to where she should be sleeping, Qin finds an envelope. He's confused. He reads it, and in the letter, she says she's going to a distant land and can't say where. She wants to live far from her father and doesn't want Qin to suffer, so they must part. But she doesn't want to abandon the person she loves and run. She plans to come back when she's strong enough to face her father. To make sure he won't forget her, Jiang Luoxu made the first move the previous night. He should wait for her return. Qin is speechless. Sometime later, he returns to the post-apocalyptic world. He arrives at the hideout and announces he's back. He's in terrible shape, depressed, and exhausted. Yunlin asks why he looks like that. Ruyu asks if he couldn't find any supplies. Kitten says he brought food for them even more than last time, enough to survive for a few months. He's going to be away for a while. Ruyo is confused and asks if he's not going to sell the supplies and wasn't trying to get more gold. The boy says he's heartbroken, and even gold is useless right now. The girls are shocked. Yunlin reflects that this means Qin has a girlfriend. Ruyo says she didn't expect him to have one. Qin says they hadn't even started dating before she left. He questions why she didn't even say goodbye. She even canceled her phone number. He has no idea where to find her. Qin begins to leave, but Ruyo stops him. She asks if this isn't just a breakup and tells him to find someone else. The boy says she doesn't understand how he feels. He's broken. He has no energy to look for someone new. The girl grabs his arm, and it gets closer. Qin gets nervous. Ruyo says that as long as he brings her tasty things, she might reward him. Qin gets distracted, and the girl reflects that he doesn't seem like someone who's out of energy. Then she pushes him away and says it's over. She's given him enough attention already. Qin looks downcast again, saying that just that won't cheer him up. Yunlin joins the conversation and asks if he accepts her attention. Qin says yes, but he wants to hug her. Ruyo eats a piece of bread. While her sister gives attention to Qin, he hugs her tightly. The girl complains, but Qin says it's barely been 30 seconds. Rubio watches and finds it amusing. Far from there, a soldier asks Captain Lai if they really need to do that. The risk of thawing Yi to extract the dark energy is very high. If he wakes up, the consequences are unimaginable. Lai says their base was only respected because of Yi's power. Now that they know he's gone, base G04 could be taken at any moment. They can't wait much longer. Lai orders them to fetch Hao Jianmai. The soldier agrees and leaves the place. Li approaches the ice. The man says he doesn't know what Yi encountered that drove him insane, but it happened at just the right time. For a long time, he refused to expand the territory, but his power could have let them dominate all the surrounding regions. His indecision brought him down, so now Lai wants his power. He plans to use that power to control that land far away. Yunlin complains that Qin is already getting on her nerves. Something beeps in her backpack. The girls are confused by the noise. Qin searches his own backpack. It's the walkie-talkie Fang Wu gave him. Ruyo yells at him not to answer yet. If he responds, they'll be able to locate the Du's base. Qin says he'll leave before answering. He uses his speed to get out of there. The boy crosses part of the city and goes to the top of a building. He connects the walkie-talkie and asks if it's Fang Wu. Qin apologizes for not getting in touch. On the other end, Fang Wu says he doesn't want to talk about that. He needs his help but will reward him accordingly. It seems they're in trouble and urgently need his special abilities. A batch of their supplies was taken by a horde of zombies. There are also some people inside. Kid must get there as soon as possible. The man gives the exact location. The boy looks toward the direction he needs to go. There the zombies try to attack. The people trapped inside sit in despair on the ground. They don't even have bullets. The zombies keep trying to break in. One of the men says the base already called someone to help them and they should be rescued soon. Qin arrives at the place. He looks around and is hit by something. The boy falls to the ground. A woman calls Fang Wu and says the kid he found is very careless. Fang Wen tells Shi not to treat him badly. The boy might be useful. The woman says that's what they'll see, then tells Qin to follow her. Several trucks are moving on the road. A driver tells Chief Fu that they got lucky this time. He didn't expect to find so many medical supplies. Since Kichi died, the position of Chief of Justice is vacant. The guy asks if Fu thinks he'll get the position when they return, but he replies that he's just doing his job without thinking too much about it. Suddenly, the trucks crash. Someone yells that it's red zombies. Several men get out and try to shoot the monsters, but they can't take them down. The driver gets out of the truck and holds the zombies with his elastic arms. That way, the others can shoot without the creatures dodging. But the shots end up damaging one of their tanks. Fu says it's not a problem and they can transfer the resources from one truck to another. From the top of one of the trucks, a man sees something. It's a horde of zombies just 800 meters away. The creatures approach quickly. Fu yells for them to load the medical supplies and get in the car. A man says the fuel tanks are still in the other truck. Then Fu says they don't have time. If they meet that horde, they'll die. They can worry about the fuel later. Everyone gets in the car. Time passes, and the fuel starts running out. The driver tells Captain Fu, who orders them to stop. Everyone gets out of the vehicle. Fu asks how far they can go with the fuel they have. Someone says 10 kilometers. Another says maybe 15 kilometers. But they're still 30 kilometers from the Earth Alliance. Fu says he knows they haven't rested in days, but they can't relax and need to find gasoline. The man says there should be gasoline 5 kilometers in another direction and suggests they split up. The vice captain should go after the fuel. The vice, who is also his driver, agrees. Far from there, a group walks among the cars looking for fuel. One of the men says they must have gathered enough already. The vice captain tells them to regroup with the others, but some of his men are caught by zombies. Others shoot at them. A soldier tells everyone to run. The vice orders them all to run. It's too late to help those who are bitten, and he shouts for them not to shoot or they'll attract more zombies. But there were too many zombies. They couldn't escape without shooting. Now they're out of bullets inside a truck. The vice tells everyone to breathe slowly for now. The zombies start banging on the vehicle. Everyone inside is panicking. While the monsters try to break in, the vice leader says the base will save them. Fang Wu says two people's job is to lure most of the horde south. Fang Wen will divert a smaller portion to the west. Qin asks what he should do, and the man says he'll help him rescue the people. The group moves forward to put the plan into action. There are a lot of zombies. A sound car approaches making loud noise. From inside the car, they yell for the zombies to follow the dance and let themselves be filled by the melody. The horde is diverted. Fang Wu tells them to move forward. Qin asks why there are still so many zombies there. Fang Wu says some of them are deaf due to decomposition. The man says he'll hold the zombies off and Qin should start the rescue, but it's locked. The boy yells for them to open the door quickly. They unlock it. Qin is shocked and asks if it wasn't supposed to be a dozen people. He asks Fu why he's the only one there. After the rescue, everyone gathers. Fang Wen is shocked to see it's just one person and asks where the others are. Fu says that the night before, he and his group were ambushed by base G04 and everyone died except him. Angrily, Fang Wen asks if it's really just him and no supplies, then says that if they had known, it wouldn't have mobilized so many people. Fu says he also sent a small group to get gasoline and they're trapped too, Seriously, Fang Wen says their lord only paid for one rescue, another will cost extra. Fu says it's an emergency. If no one helps, they'll die, and he's willing to cover the costs personally. Qin says he'll rescue them, but Fang Wen says they didn't agree to that. The boy asks if Fang Wu didn't promise to pay him and says that's the reward he wants. Fang Wen says he doesn't know if Qin is a genius or an idiot. Walking away, Fang Wu says Qin can go rescue them. His younger brother is outraged by Fang Wu's decision and asks if he knows how dangerous that's going to be. A zombie appears on the rooftop of a building. Fang Wen is startled. Several others appear. The group is shocked. Someone asks why so many red zombies appeared all at once. One of them jumps toward the group, but the woman grabs it and quickly annihilates the monster. Several others head toward the group. Fang Wen says it's strange for so many to appear at once. His brother shouts for the group not to waste energy and to run to the car. Fu and Xin also fight the zombies. The boy yells that they can't run to the car because it's surrounded by zombies. Fang Wen is startled and confused by the situation since they had already lured the zombies away. But it seems they've come back and appear to be in far greater numbers than before. The horde is immense. Fang Wu tells them not to panic because low-level zombies can't climb. They should deal with the red zombies first. The group begins to take down the creatures on the rooftop until they've dealt with them all. Fang Wu says now they just need to figure out how to escape that sea of zombies. One of the zombies sinks its fingers into the wall and starts to climb. Several others do the same. Qin shouts that the zombies are climbing. They're like the giant monster he saw when he first arrived in that world. Fang Wu yells that it must be a joke that giant zombies are also appearing in groups. The man says they're doomed. There are 6 of them. The woman says this is unusual. First a level 3 red zombie ambush, now level 3 giant zombies that usually wouldn't happen. Fu says the situation with those zombies is bizarre. It's as if they can think and have planned to catch the enemy all at once, like they're an army. A man says it seems there's only one option left. Qin looks confused and points to a place. There's something wrapped around a building. It looks like a huge smoke creature with countless legs wrapped around the building. The man lowers his glasses and says that's bad. That can only be a zombie king. Some people managed to resist the zombie toxin through their willpower, but some evolved into a grotesque form in the zombie king. He can command hordes. A man shouts for them to run. That's a level 3 zombie king, but it's not close enough yet. They can still escape. Fang Wen dodges a blow from a giant zombie. He complains that the monsters are climbing the building very quickly, and the woman tells him to leave while she deals with the zombies. But they're surrounded and don't want to leave anyone alone. Fang Wen asks if Qin can jump to the next building. The boy says yes, but he can only carry one person at a time. Captain Fu puts his hand on the boy's shoulder and says he's counting on him. Qin tells him to hold on tight. The zombie king begins to approach. The boy prepares his jump. The monster emits a kind of sonic scream that hits everyone. It's a terrible sound. Fu complains that his head hurts. Qin notices he can't use his abilities. A giant zombie hits the woman. She falls to the ground, injured. The others are also affected. Qin realizes no one there can use their powers. Then he remembers the bullet of perdition, but the system informs that the target is too far away. Trying to protect the woman, Fang Wu is bitten by a giant zombie. The boy concludes there's only one way to fix this, and asks the system to use all his black crystals and zombie cores to evolve. The system comments that evolution may fail, and asks if Qin wants to proceed anyway. The boy confirms. Then Qin starts evolving while the others are attacked. Some evolutions fail. The fight against the zombies continues. They are winning and the king is approaching. Qin gets angry because many evolutions are failing and the system is very slow. The system finishes, and now Qin is a level 4 evolutionist and gained a skill of super focus and clear mind. If he uses this, the zombie king's sound won't affect him. His mind is calmer than before. Even abilities he didn't know how to use before are now perfectly clear to him. Fang Wen shouts for someone to save him. The giant zombie prepares to finish him. Fang Wen prepares to die and hopes not to reincarnate in that apocalypse. Fang Wu stays in front of the girl, protecting her while being hit several times. Qin attacks another zombie that was attacking another group member. He rips the monster's head off. The zombie holding Fang Wen falls, lifeless. The man asks if Qin saved him. The zombie king is shouting, but something orders him to stop and raise his finger. Qin is serious. The zombies below become more agitated and start growing wings. They jump onto the building at high speed. Qin notices they're jumping much higher and moving faster than before. One of the zombie king's abilities is to cause mutations in common zombies, giving them good skills before they die exploding. The winged zombies start climbing the building. The woman shouts for them to return to their positions to fight, but the creatures dodge them. Fang Wen is scared because they're not paying attention to the group. They didn't even notice. They're going straight for Qin Shuang. Everyone rushes at high speed and gather around the boy. Fang Wen is worried and shouts for Qin. But a huge explosion happens and the zombies fly away. Qin complains it was close and he even thought he was going to die. There were too many zombies at once. Shocked, Fang Wen asks how he took down so many zombies with a single move. He questions if Qin's ability wasn't speed. Fang Wu says he noticed something different and asks if Qin is now a level 4 evolutionist. The boy confirms and says his special ability is not speed but energy accumulation. Shouting, Fang Wen asks how it's possible he's level 4 if he was level 1 not long ago. Qin tells them not to talk about that now and tells the group to run while they can. He will hold off the zombie king. The woman asks if Qin can handle it alone and says they can stay to help. The boy says that if they stay, he'll worry about the group's safety. Qin crouches and starts collecting the cores from the dead zombies. Qin says he has a secret escape plan so he's not going to die. If things get really bad, he intends to use dimensional jump. So if the group stays, it will only make things worse. They should leave. Sometime later, explosions continue on top of the building. Qin keeps fighting. Even though 2 hours have passed, at least his stamina is much higher after the evolution. By then, Fang Wen and the others should already be far away. He spent much of his energy fighting those smaller creatures to ensure the group's escape. Now he must focus on what matters. Qin points at the Zombie King and mocks it. He says the monster is controlling weak zombies and doesn't seem to like him much, but if it wants to finish him, it should come there in person. The Zombie King seems to get furious and charges at Qin. Just as the boy thought, the monster can understand him. With a quick attack, it knocks down the entire building. Qin is surprised. The boy gets excited because the Zombie King is quite fast too. He wonders how that monster can be level 3. He needs to cut it at the root quickly. When they fought the Mad Leader, he concentrated his power to simulate a water blade that even cut Fang Wu. He might try something similar. He just has to concentrate everything to the limit. Qin uses all of his power to strike the Zombie King. The monster agonizes. It seems to have worked. Far from there, the Mad Leader is unconscious. Immersed in a tank controlled by Hou Junmai, he fills the tank with his extraction liquid. In 3 days, Yi Yi will have his dark energy extracted. Li asks if that's all. Hou Junmai says he's done this many times, but never on a high-level evolutionist. But Lai must be patient. In 3 days, he'll have all of Yi Yi's energy. Fang Wen's group flees in their cars. The walkie-talkie rings. It's Qin, asking how they are. Fang Wu says they already rescued everyone there. The Zombie King ordered all the zombies to attack Qin, so it was easier to do the rescue. Qin is happy. He was afraid the group was hurt. He didn't think they'd rescue everyone so quickly. Fang Wen tells him not to worry about the group's injuries. The rescued had plenty of medicine, and the poisoning is almost neutralized. Then Fang Wu says to talk about Qin and asks how the boy is. But Fang Wen tells his brother that if Qin had time to contact them, everything must be fine. The boy confirms and tells them to find a place to meet. The Zombie King's core can carry 10,000 skill points in the system. Qin thought he'd be in trouble using all his points. He didn't expect to find 10,000 in the Zombie King. Suddenly, Qin faints. His energy is gone and he enters a kind of coma. A car travels down the road. Inside are Fu and the girl. She asks Fu where he's taking her since the Earth Alliance is in the other direction. Fu replies that this route is better for supply transport and has fewer zombies. As they approach, a man readies a bazooka to hit them and says they finally arrived. He fires and hits both vehicles. The cars explode. Fu leaves the vehicle coughing. He says fire wouldn't hurt him, but explosions would. It almost blew him up too. The man approaches with his group and apologizes, saying they had no choice. After all, taking down those 4 is very difficult. If they have a chance to take them all at once, they shouldn't waste it. Still, they only captured them thanks to Fu. Now they will take them to Camp 17. Qin remains unconscious on the ground. When 2 people approach him, one asks if Qin is sleeping and if he was the one who took down that level 3 Zombie King. The other says it's too dangerous for him there and says they should leave with him. Time passes. Qin keeps sleeping until someone pulls his cheek. He wakes up angry and shouts. 2 little girls run away. Qin is confused and wonders what place this is. Qin asks if he really slept for 10 days and says that's a long time. He asks how Fang Wu and the others are and says he needs to contact them soon. The woman answers that they confiscated his walkie-talkie. He can't use communication devices inside the base. Qin tells her to give the device back and that he'll contact the group as soon as he leaves the base. The woman asks if he really wants to leave like that and if that's how he treats his rescuers. The boy apologizes and says he will properly repay them for their kindness and asks if they need supplies. She replies that she appreciates his generosity, but that's not what they need most right now. What they need are strong people like Qin. The association has a favor to ask of him. Qin says he'll do anything, just ask, but he needs to talk to his friends first. Excited, the woman says she'll send someone with him outside the base so he can use the walkie-talkie. Outside, Qin wonders why no one is responding. The woman with him says they may have lost the device, but now they have to go back to the base. The leader is waiting for them. The boy reflects that it seems he won't be leaving anytime soon. They stand before a huge building. Qin asks where they're taking him and if he shouldn't be meeting their leader. The woman says she wanted to tell them earlier, but before meeting the leader, he needs a bath. Since he hasn't bathed in days, he smells very bad. She hands Qin a bathing kit. She takes him to a bathhouse, then says she'll wait for him outside. The boy enters. Qin wonders if he really smells that bad. He doesn't notice any scent. Inside the bathhouse is a woman. Qin is surprised and apologizes for entering the wrong place. Then he switches sides and enjoys a good bath. The boy relaxes in a bathtub. A lot happens suddenly. He hasn't even had time to think about his broken heart. It seems he needs to stay busy. Right now, his focus should be on making money. If he helps them, he should get another business partnership. Several people start entering the place. The girls excited for bath time. Kin is surprised. He gets confused and wonders what's going on and why they're all women. Kin covers his head with a towel so they won't see him. No one seems to have noticed him. Kin needs to leave as soon as possible. A girl sits next to him and complains the water is hot, but another girl calls her and pushes her into the water. It's Kin's chance to get out of there. But a woman stops in front of them and calls for the team members. She says the mission's success is thanks to the team's training. Their courage made them strong. Then the woman proposes a towel fight. She wants to see how the team handles a fight with no prior preparation. Two girls try to open the bathhouse door, but the leader says it's locked. If they want to leave, the key hangs around her neck. Only the final winner will get it. Now they have 3 minutes to find a partner. The girls grab the captain and say they want to join her. Some others pair up for the fight. Then the woman shouts that the 3 minutes are up and asks if everyone has a partner. One girl cries, saying she couldn't find anyone. The team has an odd number, and everyone thinks she's too weak and doesn't want to join her. The girl asks the captain if she can participate. The captain says there's one person without a group and points to Kin, who's hiding in a corner. The boy is speechless. He disguised himself to look like a girl and asks if the captain is talking to him. Everyone wonders who that person is and says he's not part of the team. The captain asks Shin to come closer and join. He agrees. She tells the girls they can't use their special abilities in the fight and that the duel can begin. The girls start attacking each other. Those who haven't liked each other for some time take the chance to settle scores. Kin's partner wonders why no one wants to duel them. The boy says he doesn't know either. Meanwhile, the captain keeps overpowering people. Her partner is happy to be on her team. Sometime later, almost everyone is defeated. Only 3 groups remain. She asks the vice captain which group she wants to face. The woman asks if she really has to be asked. Then she calls the captain to fight. She gets ready, and an epic battle begins. The two attack from different angles with varied strikes. The captain tries to throw the vice captain to the ground, but she manages to catch herself in time. Kin watches and reflects that it's very impressive. They fight quickly. Their partners worry when the captain takes a hit to the neck. The woman admits she lost and says Xiao got very strong. Then the captain says there's only one pair left to face, and if she wins against them, she'll be the winner. Kin's partner asks him to go first. Kin gets excited and says he will fight. His partner asks if he has fought before. Kin says he's never fought before, and if he decides to fight, he'll be found out. The girl says then she'll go alone and advances on the vice captain, saying she learned several new moves. But she's quickly defeated. The vice captain grabs the key and says Kin's pair, Tuanzi, needs more practice. Everyone is very happy to get out of there. They are hungry and decide to go eat something. The vice captain asks the captain if she let her win, but the woman denies it and says Shishio got strong but is still very insecure. Kin watches them all leave. He should leave the place soon. His partner stands up and sees a thread coming from Kin's towel. She decides to pull it. Kin's disguise falls. He panics. The girl has no reaction. She starts yelling for the captain, but Kin pulls her away first. The captain and the vice leave. Kin explains to the girl he didn't end up there on purpose, but she keeps shaking. Then Kin threatens her. The girl calms down. Kin relaxes and asks her to listen. He explains he's not a pervert. Before all this, far away a week ago, Ruryo asks her sister where she's going. Yunlin answers she's going after Kin because he has a return in 3 days. Worried, Ruryo says she'll go with her too. The two go to base G04. Ruryo says they should be able to get Fang Wu's contact there, even if they don't know where Kin is. Lai talks to the girls and says he doesn't know where Kin Shuang is. But if something happens to Qin, it won't be good for him. So he'll send his subordinates to find him, and they'll also get Fang Wu's contact. Yumlin thanks him, but her sister says nothing. When they leave, Yumlin asks what's wrong since she seems frustrated. Ruryo replies she's not sure, but something seems strange. The captain is different from before. His magnetic shield is floating uncontrollably. They must get Fang Wu's contact and leave. Elsewhere, far away, Fang Wen's group caught in the ambush is trapped. The woman complains they've been trapped for a week, receive food but no information. Some footsteps approach. She falls silent. A man comes near and tells her she still has a strong temper, but he already warned her to stay calm. The group is surprised. They recognize who they're seeing. It's the group leader, who asks what he's doing there. At night, Yumlin and Ruryo escape by jumping over the wall. Hamjumi asks if they'll let them escape like that. The captain says keeping them locked up would only raise more suspicion, but he really doesn't want anything to happen to Qin Shuang. With their resources, they can prosper. He ordered his men to follow them secretly and report any updates. The girls move away. They drive a car. Ruryo tells Yunlin to rest a bit because she's been driving all night. They eat instant noodles. Ruryo says it's delicious and Yunlin agrees, saying if it weren't for Qin, she'd never have tried it. Then Ruryo asks how her sister feels about Qin Shuang and if she likes him. She says she doesn't know. Everything has always been about Ruryo and her protection, but with Qin, she can relax. Not hearing from him for so long makes her think he's in danger, but maybe he just got tired of them and left. Yunlin says it doesn't matter. She just wants to see him again. The girl asked Ruyo if she didn't want to kill Qin and what changed suddenly. She replies he's not bad. Yunlin tells her sister to treat him well when they meet again. Smiling, Yunlin says Qin thinks Ruyo is very cute. He already told her personally and Yunlin agrees. In the middle of the road, the car has a problem. Yunlin asks her sister if it can be fixed, but she answers no. They'll need to check other cars on the road that have the same model. Ruyo complains the car always lets them down and Fang Wu's faction is only 10 kilometers away. Yunlin says they should get another one, but her sister doesn't want to. They go to a parking lot. The pair looks for the part they need. Ruyo finds what they're looking for. Something approaches. It looks like a tricycle. Yunlin yells to her sister that someone is approaching. The tricycle stops and it's the leader of Fang Wu's group driving who says he doesn't steal women. He's shocked when he finds out they want to find Fang Wu and says he's going to get in right now. The man asks them to get in and go together. The girls climb into the truck bed. Ruyo tells Yunlin that getting into a stranger's vehicle isn't a good idea. Yunlin says he even has a photo with Fang Wu, but her sister says that doesn't guarantee he's a good person. Then Yunlin says if he's a liar, she can kill him and Ruyo agrees. Inside the vehicle, the man hears everything. Later, at Faction 17, the leader asks what time the man they called will arrive. His subordinate says he should arrive late afternoon or not at all. The information wasn't clear. Angrily, the leader threatens him if he keeps telling nonsense. They're at a market. Fang Wu's friend's tricycle approaches. He parks and says they're almost at Faction 17 and should wait there for him. The man will go get Fang Wu and the others. But if he doesn't return by the next day, they can leave. Someone announces to the leader that Shai Kao is there. The man approaches and apologizes for being late. One of Faction 17's members says it's okay and they're happy to see Shai Kao. He asks the man to sit and says he prepared food for him, but Shai Kao refuses. Seriously, Shai Kao says they kidnapped his people and forced him to come there, so he doesn't want to eat with them. Shai Kao tells them to hurry up and say what they want because he has no patience for that little group. Then the faction guy says he knows Shai Kao's group does anything for money. They want Shai Kao's group to refuse helping J04 because they want to invade. Hidden outside the market, Yunlin tries to observe what's happening inside and asks her sister if they shouldn't wait in the car. Ruyo says they don't know if that guy knows Fang Wu and it's not safe to wait there. If they hide, they can see him when he leaves. Someone watches the two running. It's a man with a sniper. He prepares to shoot, but is hit in the head by one of Li's men. The man tells the sisters to stop. He says from that point on it's Faction 17 territory and he can't help them. Ruyo is outraged that the J04 man is following them. Underground, Fang Wu's group is imprisoned. The woman questions again why Shai Kao is there and about Faction 17. Shai Kao asks them to leave first and says two girls are waiting for them. Hidden in the bushes, Yunlin and Ruyo see when they arrive at the tricycle. That's Fang Wu's team. They get into the truck bed, and Fang Wen asks when Shai Kao will replace that electric tricycle, but it was left by his wife. Yunlin and Ruyo leave their hiding spot. Sometime later, Fang Wu tries to contact Qin with the walkie-talkie, but gets no response. Yunlin asks if something really happened to Qin Shuang. Fang Wen says that probably isn't the case. With his strength, he can protect himself easily, and instead he'd come back to find them. Fang Wu says he and his brother will help them search for Qin Shuang. They'll map the Zombie King's region for clues. They head there, a 3-day trip. The Zombie King lies lifeless on the ground, likely defeated by Qin 10 days earlier. Even seeing it personally, it's hard to believe Qin defeated such a monster alone. Ruyo is shocked that the boy's strength was enough to defeat a level 3 zombie. Fang Wu says the boy wasn't the same level as the last time they met. His power grew at an absurd speed. The J04 soldier observes everything. Fang Wen notes they find no trace of Qin there, so they should look elsewhere. Ruyo asks them to wait while she searches. The girl uses her super information processing ability. There's Qin's handprint on the ground. 2 different people approached, judging by the different grips. There are also marks showing Qin was dragged from there. So Ruyo understands what happened. 10 days ago, Qin was likely taken by the climber aides. If that's the case, Qin should be safe as that's a group that doesn't kill innocents. Fang Wen says he's not answering the walkie-talkie and the girls in that group are pretty, so he might have decided to stay there. The J04 soldier says they've been traveling for a long time and would like to take a break and eat something. Everyone agrees. The sisters prepare instant noodles for everyone. Fang Wen leaves the area and enters the building. Inside, someone approaches. It's Li's soldier. Fang Wen asks if he also came there to urinate. Then he says Captain Li knows how to handle things, sending someone to care for Qin's company, and therefore they'll give them a discount the next time they're hired. But the man catches Fang Wen off guard. His ability makes evolutionary beings of the same level lose their powers and nobility while within his domain. Li ordered his soldier Wu Yang to protect those girls and help them safely find the group. Yi was easily captured by Fang Wen's abilities. Now that he possesses Yi Yu's power, the only one who can threaten him is this young man. It's Wu Yang's duty to find Fang Wen and capture him. The young man's ability has great potential and could be useful to them. Wu Yang remembers Ho Junmai laughing. He grabs Fang Wen to take him away. At that moment, Fang's walkie-talkie falls from his pocket. It starts beeping. On the other side, Kin is trying to contact the group, but he had returned to meet the leader. A girl approaches. She asks if Tuanzi captured Qin Shuang in the women's restroom. The girl confirms. She says he even gave her a precious lollipop to keep her quiet, but she would never sell herself. The vice captain questions if that's the kind of man the captain brings inside. Then she says they can't keep someone who ignores the rules there, he must be expelled. But Chuanzi says they need to teach him a lesson. Qin tells her not to be crazy and says it was all an accident. He shouts that he saw a woman in the men's bathroom and thought he was in the wrong place. He looks back and sees the person he found in the bathroom. Qin shouts that she's the one he saw in the men's restroom. The young man says she was in the men's bathroom, and if he hadn't seen her, he wouldn't have mistaken the restroom. But the person tells Qin to stop yelling and shows him he's not a woman. Qin is speechless. A girl says it was all a misunderstanding and Qin didn't do it intentionally. She asks Chuanzi to untie the boy. Elsewhere, Qin knocks on a door. A woman is happy to see him and apologizes for earlier. She gives him the zombie king's core that he killed. Qin is shocked that he hadn't stored that core earlier. He could have lost it. The woman says a core like that is very valuable and Qin should keep it safe. Qin reflects that not only did she save him, but she also returned the core. In that world, it's strange to find such a kind group. The girl tells Qin to sit down so they can talk. He sits beside her. Qin says he'll help them with whatever they need. But the woman says what she's going to ask is very dangerous, and she needs to explain the situation first. They discover that base shortly after founding the climbers' assistance, and that was crucial because there was a hydroelectric station there. But she noticed the entrance to the hydroelectric plant was blocked by something. They sent Xiao Hui to check the situation underwater. At the bottom of the water, she found something. It was a pile of giant zombies bloated with water. She fled upon seeing them. They tried everything to eliminate the zombies, but nothing worked, and more than 10 people have already been sacrificed. Kidden says he's seen zombies like those before and questions their level. The girdle says they're level 4 and move quickly in water. The young man says he's never seen that personally, so if he's unsure if he can handle it, he needs to take a look first. They take Kidden to the hydroelectric plant and show him where the zombies are located underwater. He says he'll go down to check, but the girl asks if he's crazy. She says he'll die if he goes down unprepared, and they always descend in teams. Kidden says it's fine and that he can escape if he's in danger. The young man jumps into the water. He starts swimming downward. There, Qin encounters several giant zombies. It's genuinely challenging. He needs to get closer to view information about the zombies. Qin approaches. These are level 4 aquatic zombies. They rarely migrate, move well underwater, and use water jets to attack humans. The young man thinks he could handle 1 or 2, but there are hundreds here. Meanwhile, a zombie approaches him from behind. The MC sees the zombie just in time. He grabs its teeth, but the monster's bite is quite strong. Despite being enormous, the zombie moves silently. Even the water remains calm. Qin calls the zombie a water-loving radish and says he's not so easy to swallow. The young man gathers energy in his leg. He takes a massive leap, pushing off the creature's mouth. Qin looks down at them. He concludes he can't handle so many, so he better escape quickly. Outside, the girl wonders why Qin hasn't returned yet. The young man emerges from the water. She throws him a ladder. He says they're lucky the zombies can only move along the reservoir bottom and can't swim. The girl says she warned him it was dangerous. Qin removes the diving suit, but when removing the suit, his underwear comes off too. The girl gets angry and chases after him, but Qin tries to justify himself, saying the suit was too tight. Qin meets again with the leader, who asks if he went to the bottom of the reservoir. The young man confirms he did. He says he knows a way to deal with the zombies. He just needs an underwater weapon. The leader asks if he's serious. The vice captain questions whether a rifle will be enough and tells Qin not to be overconfident. But Qin reassures her, saying he's been in similar situations before. When he and Yunlin were surrounded by zombies, he used only 8 perdition bullets to eliminate hundreds of them. 20 shots should be enough for those giant zombies. The captain says they don't have underwater rifles and asks about depth charges, but they've already tried those with limited success. The young man asks if that's their only type of aquatic weapon. Qin asks the system if perdition bullets can be used with explosives, but the system says no, only with fast projectiles fired from regular weapons. The young man is shocked. He begins pondering what to do since he's already assured them he could handle it. Qin gets an idea. He asks the captain if she can help him. She tells him to call her Yu Lu and says she'll assist him however she can. Qin asks her help to build something, then begins sketching it on paper. Yu Lu says the mechanics seem simple and she can make it the same day. Later, they return to the reservoir. Qin is holding a crossbow and tells him to wait for him. The improvised crossbow can fire high-speed projectiles. This means it meets the system's criteria. Qin jumps into the water. He swims to the bottom. Then he asks the system to load 20 rounds of perdition bullets. He does this, consuming 1,000 ability points. Qin shoots the giant zombies in different places. The 20 shots are fired, and now he must wait about 20 hours for the effect. But the zombies see him. Outside, the girls await his return. A huge explosion occurs. Qin is thrown out of the water. He wonders what's going on and if the perdition bullets aren't supposed to take forever to take effect. The system says their timing is unstable and uncontrollable. Kin gets angry and says he'll never use those bullets again. Below, the vice captain mocks him. Far away, Ruvio finishes her noodles and grabs another. Yunlin complains they're Fang Wen's, but she says he was the one who took too long in the bathroom. Then Fang Wu gets up and says he's going to look for him. Inside the building, he searches for his brother. He finds the walkie-talkie on the floor. Fang Wu returns and says Fang Wen is missing, and he found his walkie-talkie. Ruvio says she didn't hear any strange noises in the past few minutes. The man reflects that it's strange Fang Wen disappeared without a sound. He was probably taken when his guard was down. But nobody else went inside. He saw them with his own eyes. He wonders if this is his boss's doing or the others, but Fang Wen wouldn't leave without warning. Yunlin says this is very strange and Fang Wen might be in danger. He should inform his companions. Fang Wu says he promised to help them find Qin Shuang. The girl says it's fine. If he's with the climber's assistants, he should be safe. Wu Yidong says Captain Lai sent him to look after them, so Fang Wu doesn't need to worry. The man agrees. At night, Wu Yidong finds someone behind a tree and asks what he's doing there. It's a man identical to him, who asks if Wu doesn't think the captain has changed a lot since meeting Hao Junmei. The same happened with leader Ye. But Wu Yidong says that's all speculation and the captain's dream is to unite humanity and protect everyone from zombies. The man says if Wu Yidong doesn't believe him, he'll look for evidence. Lai helped them since childhood. He doesn't plan to let Hao Junmei ruin everything. Yunlin approaches Wu and asks who he's talking to. He replies he was reporting to base that they're heading to the climber's assistant group's territory the next day, then asks why she isn't sleeping. Yunlin responds that she can't sleep as long as someone else is awake. Meanwhile, at the climber's assistant's base, Qin receives care after being hurt by the explosion. Captain Yu Lu says it might hurt a little, but it's good for recovery. A woman approaches and says the young man worked hard and even if it didn't work, they appreciate his efforts. Qin says he'll find a way. He won't accept losing to those swollen-headed zombies. The vice captain asks if he's planning to blow things up again. He gets angry and insists he'll definitely solve the hydroelectric problem. They'll see. Qin thinks he wanted to save that Zombie King's core for a critical moment, but he can't wait anymore. His dignity demands he handles those zombies now. The young man asks the system if the Zombie King's core has any other uses besides charging ability points. The system says no, so Qin asks to charge it. Now Qin has 10,050 ability points. If he uses those 10,000 points just to evolve, he could reach level 7. Qin decides there's no point in wasting time and tells the system to upgrade 10 times. But evolution fails. Qin tries again, 30 times. But it fails again. He asks for another 50 attempts. Qin becomes hopeful, but it still doesn't work. He's angry and the system asks if he wants to keep trying. Qin reflects that he has few points left. If he tries evolving again, he'll lose everything. Elsewhere in the base, the girl approaches the leader and says there are 3 people at the gate claiming they've been looking for Qin for some time. The woman authorizes their entry. The gates open and the people enter. The leader says she heard they're friends of Qin and asks if they're part of any faction. Yunlin replies they're freelancers without any faction. Ruvio asks to call Qin and says they have an urgent matter to discuss. Smiling, the leader says they can talk to him personally and asks Chuanzi to lead them. Chuanzi tells the sisters to follow her. Ruvio comments it's exactly as she thought. Qin completely forgot about them. She questions why they should follow someone like him. Yunlin replies that after seeing Qin, they'll leave. Chuanzi points to a room for the two, saying Qin is inside. Yunlin makes a motion to enter, but gives up. Ruvio asks her to open the door, but Yunlin refuses. Yunlin starts to leave, saying at least they know he's fine, so they should go. Ruvio feels sad, but someone opens the door. It's Qin. He shouts upon seeing Yunlin. He asks how she got there and whether she has enough food. He really thought he heard her voice earlier. Ruvio complains, asking if he has any idea what they've been through. Yunlin scolds her sister. Qin is confused and asks what happened. Smiling, Yunlin says it was nothing as long as he's okay. After getting updated, Qin asks who captured Fang Wen. Yunlin replies she doesn't know, but Fang Wu went after him. The young man says he didn't expect them to face so much danger just to find him. He should have contacted them sooner. Qin then says he'll talk to leader Qi and Muyo, saying the repair of the water station will have to wait a bit as he needs to help Fang Wu find his brother. They leave the base. Yunlin says she didn't expect the leader would agree without any trouble. Qin says she's a good person. In a car, Fang Wen is tied up. He searches for something on his wrist and presses a button. Immediately, Fang Wu's walkie-talkie starts beeping. It's Fang Wen's transmitter sending his location. The transmitter is hidden beneath the skin and only pressed in emergencies or dangerous situations. Fang Wen's location is at the J-04 base. Li's soldier approaches him and reports that Fang Wen has arrived. The commander is pleased and orders Hou Junmei to be summoned. Concerned, the soldier asks if his chief's body is alright. Ever since Yi's energy was transferred to him, his health has deteriorated. Lai replies that he's fine and healthy. This is just an initial rejection reaction, and he simply needs to take a suppressant medication for a while. Nervously, the man says Lai trusts Hou Junmei too much, as he has no reason to help them without receiving anything in return. Lai tells him to stop talking. He says he knows the soldier is worried, but he has his reasons, and they must remain focused on their goal, creating a safe fortress for everyone. That way, people won't have to fear zombie attacks and humanity will evolve. This is their shared wish, but humanity is divided into factions, so initially, power must be taken by force. They must establish control over all factions. Only then can humanity become stronger. Only then will humans unite and they can build an impenetrable fortress. Wu Yang says Qin Shuang seems safe, so his mission is complete. Qin says Yunlin told him Wu Yang kept them safe. Wu Yang confirms it, adding that he only didn't enter because of his bad relationship with the climber's assistants. Now he'll leave. Qin says he didn't realize Wu Yang's leader was so loyal, and next time they do business, Qin will deliver 10 tons of rice for free. He uses the walkie-talkie. He contacts Fang Wu, telling him he's safe and sound. Fang is relieved to hear he's safe. He then asks if someone is with Qin, saying he wants to speak privately. Qin agrees. He steps away from the group. Fang Wu tells Qin his brother was captured by the J04 group. Qin asks if he's certain and Fang Wu confirms it. Qin then asks where Fang Wu is. Fang Wu says he's outside J04's base and has informed the organization. When they arrive, they'll raid to rescue him. Qin tells Fang Wu not to act recklessly as J04's defense is strong and asks him to wait so they can plan together. Fang Wu says he fears that waiting might endanger his brother even further. Qin acknowledges Fang Wu's concern but reassures him that if J04 wanted Fang Wen dead, they wouldn't have taken him to the base. He asks for 20 hours. In 20 hours, it'll be early morning, an ideal time to strike. Plus, Qin will already be inside for support. Fang Wu agrees to wait the 20 hours. They travel by car. Qin tells Li's soldier he wants to personally thank the captain. The soldier confirms that the captain wishes to see him, so Wu Yang will escort them to the J04 base. At the J04 base, Captain Li coughs heavily. A purple fluid appears on the cloth in his hand. He asks Hao Junmai if his medication shouldn't relieve these symptoms and wonders why he feels such chaotic energy within him. Hao Junmai replies that the captain shouldn't rush things. Everything has its own pace and his body needs time to adapt. The man gives Lai a vial and says this is the new medicine he should take. Lai takes it and Hao Junmai asks if he feels better. Excited, Lai says the medicine acts quickly. He barely took it and already feels his energy stabilizing. Hao Junmai says that's good, and from now on, whenever Li's energy feels uncontrollable, he can drink that. Later, Hao Junmai is alone saying he needs to report something. He wonders if the Witch Queen will reward him. On a tablet, he calls someone. A woman answers. Hao greets and praises the Witch Queen. She asks how the experiment is progressing. He says everything is going well, and if nothing goes wrong, they'll finally create a perfect combat machine this time. The Witch Queen praises Hao Junmai and says she'll reward him if it works. He asks if he could get a tight hug from her if he succeeds. She laughs and agrees. If he completes the experiment successfully, she'll grant him whatever he desires. But she's heard similar promises from many others. They always assure her they can do it, until they exhaust her patience completely. And no one has produced results that satisfy her yet. Dr. John, for instance, disappointed her. The woman finishes him off. The Witch Queen drains Dr. John's energy until he loses all of his life force. She smiles happily and drops John to the floor. She says at least John was useful before dying, then orders his body to be removed. The queen summons her subordinate, Hu Meng, and tells her if the experiment succeeds, she must retrieve it personally from Hao Junmai. The girl agrees. Meanwhile, at base J04, Lai greets Qin with open arms, and the young man thanks him for his care. The captain tells him to relax, it was his duty, and he wouldn't want to lose such a valuable supplier. Hao Junmai greets Qin, saying he looks stronger, and Qin asks why he's there as well. Lai replies that Hao Junmai is providing him with some medications. Qin starts to understand what's going on. He then says he's brought several boxes of wine to enjoy the night. Hao Junmai remarks that Qin must later tell him how he got so strong. In the hall, they gather to drink. Hao Junmai comments that the wine is sweet and delicious but causes terrible hangovers. 2 cups weren't enough to make him drunk. Li agrees, saying he has great tolerance, but after 3 cups, he can't even stand up. Qin laughs, saying he didn't expect it to be so strong and decides to stop drinking. He asks Yunlin and Ru Yo to help him to his room. Then Qin whispers to the girls that Fang Wen is at this base. He didn't have a chance to tell them earlier because of Wu Yang. They must find Fang Wen's hiding place before 3 a.m. Fang Wu is waiting outside, so Qin tells Yunlin to follow Captain Lai. He instructs Ru Yo to follow Wu Yang as he might know something. Qin will follow Hao Junmai himself. They'll escape and regroup in Qin's room by 3 a.m. Yunlin follows the captain. Ru Yo follows Wu Yang. Meanwhile, Qin follows Hao Junmai. Hao enters codes into a wall panel. Qin observes from afar. Then Hao Junmai goes through a secret door, exactly as Qin suspected. Qin follows him and reaches a room illuminated by purple lights. There, Hao Junmai is laughing while preparing his potions. The man says he's short on time, he must take medication to calm himself and return to work. The experiment's success is crucial. He's almost at the 2nd adaptation stage. Once he reaches the 3rd stage and drinks that potion, he'll undergo a mutation. doubling his strength. Qin wonders who Ho Junmi is talking about. Then something catches his attention, a massive tank containing Yi Yi's body. He wonders if they're experimenting on humans and if Fang Wen was captured for the same reason. Yi Yi suddenly opens his eyes. Qin is startled that Yi Yi is alive. Yi Yi moves his mouth, asking Qin to save him. Qin thinks he won't save him since Yi Yi tried to kill him. Ha Junmi's communicator beeps. It's Lai, who shouts for Ha Junmi to bring more medicine immediately as the energy inside him is becoming chaotic again. Seated at a desk, Lai is losing control. His body begins to transform. Yumlin, observing secretly, wonders what's happening. Li's back becomes grotesque, and she questions whether he's still human. Ha Junmi tells Lai he's on his way. He laughs, pleased that the commander is almost at the 3rd stage. He leaves the secret room. Qin takes advantage of this opportunity to search for Fang Wen. He finds pieces of animals scattered around and preserved embryos. Qin wonders if they're human, but thinks that's impossible since they have wings. Qin opens a metal box. Inside, Fang Wen floats in a liquid. Qin pulls him out, shouting for Fang Wen to wake up. Fang Wen still has a pulse and is alive. Qin decides to get him out first. He passes by Yi Yi again and feels anger, but decides he can't leave him there. Qin says he's saving him only because he can't bear to watch, but Yi Yi must stop trying to kill him. Yi Yi stares at him seriously, but doesn't move. Qin asks if he can't walk. Qin takes a deep breath. He decides to carry them both, wondering how he ended up in a situation carrying 2 naked men. Inside the base, a man approaches the gate. The guard asks what he's doing there so late. With a swift movement, the man slashes the guard's throat, then opens the gate. Outside stands a large group. They're members of Faction 17. Elsewhere, the woman tells Fang Wu they can't enter tonight. He agrees, saying all they can do is wait for Qin. They hear a noise. Looking closely, they see several cars. They belong to Faction 17, which has already started moving. The sniper takes down the tower guards. Meanwhile, another member climbs up to attack them as well. He signals to the faction. All tower guards have been neutralized, allowing them to move freely. A man approaches Wu Yang, but as soon as Wu Yang turns around, he's shot. Ruvio watches closely as the man orders the rest to enter. Faction 17 follows him as he says the captain is upstairs. On the ground, Wu Yang stands back up despite the bullet to his head. His wound heals instantly, and the bullet drops into his hand. Ruvio realizes she's seen these people before. They're members of Faction 17. Meanwhile, in the captain's quarters, Lai takes medicine provided by Ho Junmi. After drinking, Ho Junmi asks if Li feels better. Lai confirms. Ho states they're nearly at the 3rd stage of treatment. Success is near if they get through this. Ho Junmi thinks about how Lai took the 3rd stage medication without rejection, which is excellent. Suddenly, gunfire erupts. Faction 17 is attempting to eliminate Lai. Bullets from machine guns riddle the door. They break it down soon after. The faction leader is shocked that none of the bullets hit Captain Lei. Li asks if he's from Faction 17, Kong Wujing. Surprised that Lei knows his name, Kong replies that he's not just the leader of Faction 17, but now the leader of the J04 base as well. In the corridors, Qin continues carrying the 2 men. He sees an explosion and someone gets thrown violently aside. Kong Wujing crashes to the ground. Lei threw him. The captain faces him, water energy surrounding his body. Kong Wujing recognizes that energy is belonging to a level 7 evolutionist. Qin, confused, wonders why there's fighting. He had asked Fang Wu to wait. Moreover, he doesn't recognize this person. He quickly decides he shouldn't seek logic here, but instead exploit the chaos to escape. He moves toward the exit. Once past the gate, he can contact Fang Wu, but something blocks him. It's a magical stone staff. Ha Junmi says he noticed someone acting suspiciously and asks if that was why Qin invited them for drinks. Then he orders Qin to drop the 2 people he's carrying, stating they're extremely important to him. Qin turns away and continues walking. Ha Junmi asks if he's trying to escape. He thrusts the staff, hitting Qin in the back. Qin's legs tremble and he nearly falls but manages to stay up and starts running. Qin feels pain where he was struck. Zombie toxin is entering his body. Ha Junmi throws the staff, breaking the gate in front of Qin. Ha says Qin won't escape. If he returns the captives, Ha will let him go. Qin says he doesn't want to fight as they were once battle allies, but if Ho insists, he has no choice. He sets Yi Yi and Fang Wen down, declaring he'll deal with Hao. Ha Junmi says Qin talks too much. He already imagines dissecting him. Qin activates his ability. Energy gathers in his hand. Ha Junmi activates his toxin ability, eager to see Qin's progress, saying even Fang Wu wouldn't stand a chance. A mere drop of his poison can immobilize a giant once struck. The toxin will paralyze Qin's movements. Qin agrees that it's true, but immediately rushes toward Hao. Ha Junmi attacks, but Qin dodges swiftly and lands a powerful blow to Hao's stomach. Qin says he'll finish this quickly. With Ha Junmi on the ground, Qin picks up Fang Wen and Yi Yi again. On the other side of the base, Li and Kong Wujing face each other from afar. Kong Wujing says Lai's power is impossible since Lai shouldn't have Yi use fluid manipulation ability. He laughs, finally understanding why Yi Yi was suddenly killed by his own people. Lai stole their leader's powers. Kong Wujiang says Yi Yi, a level 7, was foolishly murdered by his subordinates. Someone like Yi Yi should never have trusted Lai. Li unleashes a water attack. It rushes toward Kong Wujiang, but he suddenly vanishes. Lai is stunned. Kong Wujiang appears behind him, placing a gun against Li's head, asking if he's looking for him. Kong Wujiang pulls the trigger multiple times. He hits Li's head several times, but the bullets pass through his head, which has turned into liquid. Kong Wujiang notices that Lai's power includes transforming his own body into water. Lai tries to attack Kong Wujiang again, but he disappears once more and reappears in front of him. Serious, Lai realizes that Kong Wujiang isn't just fast, it's not even possible to trace his movements. Worried, Kong Wujiang says he can't defeat Lai with traditional methods. He's a level 6 evolutionist whose ability is teleportation up to 500 meters. Lai tries to hit Kong Wujiang multiple times in a row, but he doesn't succeed. The boy appears in different places, so Lai starts getting frustrated. Kong Wujiang says that Lai's ability is truly amazing and wasn't part of their plan, so he'll have to think of a way to stop Lai. Meanwhile, they can have some fun. Time passes and Li keeps wasting strikes trying to hit Kong Wujiang without success. Lai says they'll see how long Kong Wujiang can keep this up. Kong Wujiang concludes that Lai has high stamina and winning by exhaustion is impossible. The members of Faction 17 appear, saying they've already taken care of everyone on their side, and Kong Wujiang is shocked to see them. Kong Wujiang gets excited and goes to them, but Lai strikes the 3. Kong Wujiang teleports. One of the guys uses a shield he created with his ability. Immediately, Kong Wujiang appears behind Lai and shoots him in the head. But once again, Lai turns his skull into water and the bullets go right through. Kong Wujiang shouts that it's the moment, and one of the Faction 17 members uses his ability. He creates a sort of whirlwind that captures Lai. Kong Wujiang shouts that it's great and tells the subordinate not to let Lai escape. But the guy says he can't hold him for long. His ability is wind control. Lai turns into liquid and Kong Wujiang shouts for them not to let him escape, then orders the other to grab Lai tightly. The other creates 2 steel hands and grabs Lai. Kong Wujiang is happy and tells the whirlwind guy to hang in there because he'll be right back. Inside the seal prison they made, Lai tries to break everything to escape. The guy who trapped him is having a hard time keeping him in. Kong Wujiang passes by and says he'll be right back. He grabs something. It's a flamethrower. Kong Wujiang fires at the steel hands. His intention is to cook Lai inside. Inside base J04, chaos has broken out. Qin jumps off a wall. He's carrying 2 men and runs through the bushes, heading toward Fang Wu. The man is impressed to see Qin Shuang with Fang Wen. Qin says he rescued Fang Wen, but couldn't wake him up. Emotionally, Fang Wu thanks the boy. The boy says there's no need to thank him and he would have helped save him anyway because Fang Wen is his friend. The woman picks up Yi Yi and asks who that person is. Fang Wu recognizes him quickly and wonders how he ended up there in that state. Qin Shuang runs back toward the base before giving any explanation. He says that Yunlin and the others are still in there. He needs to help them. Fang Wu asks about Yi Yi, but Qin runs off without saying another word. Yunlin enters the room where Ruyo already is and asks if her sister found any clues about Fang Wen. Yunlin says no, but she found out that Faction 17 invaded. Kong Wujiang is fighting Lai and the situation doesn't look good. Ruyo says they need to run, but Yunlin is worried about Fang Wen. Qin enters the room. He says he already saved Fang Wen and they need to get out of there quickly. Everything in base J04 is exploding or on fire. The faction members are wreaking havoc on the base's civilians. Yunlin watches from a distance. A man is shot in the leg. Ruvio notes that Faction 17 also invaded her home and did the same. The people there will end up like them. A child is dragged by the hair. The faction members laugh at the people. One of them drags a girl away from there and slaps her face. The man tells her to obey him if she wants her little brother to live. The girl is scared, her eyes full of tears. But before she could do anything, he was hit in the face with a frying pan. Qin hit him. He crouches in front of the girl and asks if she's okay. Her brother runs in and hugs her. Qin leaves and tells them to stay inside. He drags the Faction 17 member with him. The little boy asks his sister who that is, but she doesn't know Qin, and she forgot to thank him. Inside base G04, Yunlin attacks a young man. He falls unconscious to the ground. Ruyo says the area is completely clear of members from Faction 17. Yunlin says there are still 7 other places. Qin says they should go expel the remaining members of Faction 17. Captain Lai captured people to perform human experiments. Qin has no intention of saving him. But Faction 17 is killing innocents, acting like rabid dogs. They can't allow those rabid dogs to keep killing freely. Qin will take them down one by one. Kong Wujiang laughs while trying to burn Lai, but he sees Wu Yang flying toward one of his men. Kong Wujiang shouts for his soldier to be careful. Then another manages to capture Wu Yang with his wind power, but someone cuts the fuel pipe of Kong Wujiang's flamethrower. It's Wu Yang. Kong Wujiang becomes furious and says they broke his flamethrower. But his subordinate says not to worry because Lai doesn't seem to be moving anymore, Suddenly, the young man who controls wind feels something strange. His body starts to be consumed. Kong Wujing also feels like he's being drained. Basically, Lai is absorbing the moisture around him to recover. Far away from there, someone tries to wake up Hao Jianmei. It's the girl the Witch Queen sent to bring him back. She says judging by his condition, he seems to have failed again and his experiment is being roasted. Hao Jianmei gets up laughing and says he'll be fine. If Lai doesn't survive an attack from Faction 17, then his experiment will have failed. Li causes a huge explosion. From afar, Qin sees the explosion coming from Li's side. Fire and smoke rise into the sky. Members of Faction 17 are thrown far away. Kong Wujing crashes against the wall. Lai has become a water creature. He takes on a different form. Kong Wujing is astonished at what he sees. Wu Yang wonders what that is. They wonder if that monster is a zombie. Hao Jianmei and the girl run through the corridors. He stops at a balcony and looks toward where Lai is. His experiment was a success. He created an artificial zombie king. The water creature, Lai, walks slowly. Wu Yang wonders if that is still the captain. Kong Wujing can't identify what that thing is. That thing is bad. Then Kong Wujing shouts for his comrades to get out of there now. They say they fought hard to get there and don't want to flee. Furious, Kong Wujing tells them to stop being crazy and escape. Li crouches down and makes a powerful leap. He lands behind the two and grabs them by their necks. Kong Wujing panics and tries to shoot the monster, but the bullet just passes through it without causing any damage. Holding both by the neck, Lai sucks out their moisture, leaving them drained. One of them cuts off Li's arms. Kong Wujing shouts for them to run quickly. Lai manages to capture both before they can escape. This time, he envelops their heads with water, killing them by asphyxiation. Kong Wujing becomes furious and yells at Lai to let them go. But Lai hits him with a water jet from his back that pierces him. The man can't believe that's possible. He was pierced right after teleporting. Lai throws him far. Meanwhile, he absorbs the vitality of his opponents. Wu Yang observes that Lai is absorbing the moisture from his opponents. They wonder if that's still Lai or if he really became a zombie. Then Wu Meng says if he tries to attack them, then he's just a zombie. Li drops the bodies of the Faction 17 members on the ground. Wu Meng asks if Lai recognizes them. The monster looks at them and immediately attacks. He pierces one of them in the chest. Qin charges toward him from behind, but the zombie king dodges quickly. Qin gets scared and wonders if that zombie has eyes on the back of its head. Quickly, the zombie attacks Qin. The boy dodges but notes that the creature is much faster and more agile than Yi Yai. He keeps dodging the zombie while reflecting on what that monster is from above. Hao Jianmei is happy with his creation. The girl says it's impressive and the Witch Queen will be very happy to hear about it. Hao comments that the zombie is just a mutation that combines a level 4 evolutionist and a level 7 evolutionist, but it still has a level 4 core. That is the first species they've managed to create successfully. It's not just a zombie king. Even though it's not a level 10 zombie king, Hao Jianmei is fully capable of creating one too. Qin keeps dodging all the attacks. Wu Neng says that just as he suspected, the captain has become a zombie. His wound heals. If it weren't for the other's symbiosis ability, he wouldn't have survived. Wu Yang has the symbiosis ability, so if one lives, the other will too. Wu Yang says they need to control the captain, otherwise everyone there will die by his hand. Wu Neng must have the abilities necessary for that. Then Wu Neng says he can only silence the abilities of people on levels similar to his, and now Li possesses the energy of a level 7 evolutionist. Seriously, Wu Yang says that just having Yi's energy doesn't make him a level 7 evolutionist, but regardless they need to try. Wu Neng says he understands, but he can't even get close to Lei. Yunlin and Ruyo approach, saying they can help them. Ruyo says she has a way to get close to the zombie. Hao Jianmei watches everything from afar and comments that he didn't think Qin would be strong enough to dodge attacks from a level 4 zombie king. He becomes curious about how Qin managed to evolve so quickly. Now Hao wants to capture Qin Shang to study him. Up high, Yunlin and the others move quickly. Ruyo says the position should work and there's no time to explain the plan to Xin, but the boy is already attracting the zombie king's attention. Her sister will throw them the first chance they see an opening in the zombie's guard. Wu Neng is confused about how Yunlin managed to throw him so far, but she says she's carried heavier things before. Ruyo says she doesn't know how long Qin will be able to hold on, so they need to hurry. She watches the zombie king closely, looking for an opening. The girl tells her sister to stay alert for her command. Yunlin gets ready. She lifts Wu Neng high. On the other side, the girl with Hao sees the group and asks what they're doing. Hao Jianmei comments that they seem eager to throw their lives away and shouldn't blame him if that happens. Then he sees Wu Neng being carried and remembers his ability. Hao panics and searches for something, saying Wu Neng won't destroy his experiment. Ruvio keeps her hyper-focus. Then she finds an opening and tells her sister to throw. But Hao Jianmei blows a whistle. Immediately, the zombie king turns and sees the group. Ruvio yells for them to dodge quickly. An attack comes at them, but Qin grabs the water tentacles. He complains that the zombie didn't even get distracted fighting him. With his strength, he makes a super jump and rips off the tentacles. Qin says now they'll see how the monster fights without tentacles. But the water Qin holds dissolves. and he begins to fall. Kin's head is wrapped in water. Yunlin is shocked that the Zombie King can move his tentacles even without them being connected to his body. Wunang says that Zombie's power is as strong as Yi Yu's. He can absorb moisture from nearby humans. Yunlin tries to shoot the monster, but Wunang says it's useless. Bullets just pass through him. She asks her sister to quickly think of something. If this continues, Kin will die. The boy suddenly vanishes. He travels between dimensions and returns to the real world. That was a close call. He was almost killed. Hao Junmi is shocked that Kin disappeared. He wonders if the boy has two powers. Kin reflects that he needs to return quickly because it's not over yet. Then he goes back and reappears in the same place. The Zombie King is stunned. No one understands what happened. Kin dodges the zombie's blows. He says he just needed a break, but now he won't let it catch him again. Kin keeps dodging the blows. The boy reflects that just dodging the monster won't help. Since it's made of water, heat should harm it. The MC realizes that by concentrating his energy, he can generate a powerful heat source. He managed to defeat a Zombie King with a blow like that, so it shouldn't be that hard. But he needs time to charge, and in that situation, he'll die before he can do it. Hao wonders if Kin has the same ability as Kong from Faction 17. The girl says it's not the same. Kong could go from one place to another. Kin just vanishes and reappears in the same spot. Hao Junmei leaves and she asks where he's going. He says he's had enough fun, now they have to deal with the bad elements and bring the successful final product to the Witch Queen. Kin thinks this is his first time trying that plan and he doesn't know if it will work. He'll return to the real world to charge and come back when he's ready. If it works, he'll defeat the Zombie King. The zombie tries to hit him, but Kin vanishes again. Yunlin is startled. Then something hits her. It looks like a blowgun dart. Ru-Yo becomes worried about her sister as Ho Junmi approaches from behind. The man says it's just a sedative because they decided to mess things up. Wu Yang and Wu Nang are already unconscious on the ground. The girl grabs a powerful weapon and raises it. She aims at the spot where Kin disappeared, since he should return at any moment. Kin returns. He has charged all his energy. The zombie sees him. The girl pulls the trigger, and the bullet flies. Kin looks in her direction. Ru-Yo threw herself in front of the gun and took the shot instead. Kin is in shock. Ru-Yo falls to the ground. The boy shouts her name. The two sisters lie on the ground. Hao Junmi is surprised. Hin yells his name and charges at him. With his handful of energy, he grabs Hao by the neck and asks what he did. The man wonders what kind of energy that is and how a level 4 evolutionist can have so much concentrated energy. Hao Junmi says Ru-Yo is not dead yet. If they stop fighting, it's still possible to save her. She was shot in the chest. Hao says Ru-Yo jumped in front of the gun on her own. They didn't mean to hit her. If Kin lets him go, he can help her. Kin releases the man. A water attack nearly hits him. Hao Junmi remembers the Zombie King is still there. He uses his whistle, and the creature stops. The zombie returns to human size and stands in front of the man. Hao Junmi says he didn't expect him to be so obedient and comments that the genetic technology worked. Kin notices the zombie obeys Hao's commands and wonders what's going on. Hao laughs and tells him not to worry because the zombie won't attack him anymore, continuing that fight wouldn't benefit either of them. Later, Hao Junmi injected an anesthetic toxin into Ru-Yo that can stop the bleeding for 2 hours. During that time, Kin must find a doctor. The sedative he used on the other 3 will also wear off in 2 hours. Given the chaos in the city, it's unlikely Kin will find a doctor. He turns to Hu Meng and tells him to leave. The girl looks thoughtfully at Kin. He glares at her with hatred. Then Ho Junmi, Hu Meng, and the Zombie King leave the area later. Far from there, someone knocks hard on Dr. Zhou's door. The woman opens it. Kin is holding Ru-Yo in his arms and says she was shot and needs help immediately. The doctor rushes to prepare the operating table. Kin asks if the girl will be okay. Zhao tells him to get out and not to disturb her. The boy leaves the room. He reflects that Hu Meng tried to shoot him and Ru-Yo protected him. But he wonders why, since she always hated him. The boy thought he was strong enough and even dreamed of being a hero, but he couldn't even protect his friends. It feels like a joke. Inside the room, Zhao works hard to operate on Ru-Yo quickly. She manages to extract a piece of the bullet, but there are many fragments and her equipment isn't enough for such a delicate surgery. Hao leaves the room and Kin asks how the surgery went and if it worked. She says it didn't. She says her equipment isn't sufficient. Ru-Yo needs to be transferred to a better facility. Kin asks where that better place is and says he'll take her there. The woman says the nearest hospital is at the Earth Alliance facility. Meanwhile, at the Earth Alliance, a man enters a room and asks for updates. There's another man there with a bionic leg sitting on a bench. He tells the first one to start talking. The soldier says 3 people are outside the city. One of them was shot and they're requesting medical help. They offered any supplies in exchange. The man stays silent for a moment and orders them to let them in the city. Someone is driving a car. It's Hao Junmi and Hu Meng, and he says he's grateful for the shots she fired. Otherwise, he would have suffered some losses. Hu Meng is confused and says the bullets were blocked by Ru-Yo. Then Hao Junmi says that's exactly why they got Qin Shuang's attention. If he used all that energy, it would have been a disaster. He can't afford to make any mistake with his first successful experiment. Hu Meng says that even if Qin is powerful, He couldn't escape the three of them. But Hao says the time hasn't come yet. Good seeds should only be harvested when they grow into great trees. That boy is peculiar, and Ho Jiamei is curious about how far he can evolve. They should wait until the ripe fruits come. He will become a very valuable medicinal ingredient. Far from there, at the doctor's base, the Hao asks Shin if he hasn't had conflicts with the Earth Alliance before and if he's sure he wants to go there. He says he does. The wounds Ruyo sustained can't wait. The gates open and Kin tells the doctor to stay outside and wait for him. As soon as Kin enters, the gate closes. He comes face to face with Kichi. The man is alive. He remains silent, then turns around. One of the soldiers tells Kin he'll take him to the leader. Kin follows. The leader says they haven't seen each other in a long time. He comments that he's been waiting for Kin's return. The leader really liked the canned meat and waited to trade more goods. Kin says he brought even more meat this time, along with plenty of food to keep him satisfied. There'll be gifts to make up for his past rudeness. The leader gets very excited and says he won't be political about it. They shouldn't dwell on the past. Even Kichi has made mistakes. The boy says he's relieved the Lord understands and explains that his friend is badly hurt. He came seeking help. Then the Lord says that with all those gifts, he won't refuse assistance. But he also needs a favor from Kin. If he agrees, the Lord will send his best doctor to treat his friend. The boy says that's no problem. Then the Lord explains that recently his men found an old mine. According to analysts, there are mineral resources there that they need, and the elevator can be easily repaired. But after the first team went down, they lost contact. They sent another group, but in the end, 3 teams were sent down and none ever came back. Because of that, people are afraid to go into the mine. But the mine is very important to him and must become operational. Even so, no matter how many resources he offers the miners, they refuse to descend. So the Lord hopes Kin can go down and uncover the truth and rescue those who went before. The boy says it's no problem as long as he can leave his friend in the city to receive treatment. No issue. The Lord agrees and says he'll send someone to pick her up. Meanwhile, Kin must go with a subordinate to the mine. He will explain the details. At the mine, Kin walks. He feels like he's been walking for a long time and hasn't found anything. 30 minutes have passed and it's so quiet that he's lost his sense of time. Something catches his attention. The tunnel splits into 2. He decides to mark the wall so he doesn't get lost. Then he enters one of the paths. Kin keeps walking, still finding nothing strange, and wonders if they're playing a joke on him. Then he hears something. It sounds like a woman crying. Kin approaches until he finds a figure in the corner. It looks like a woman sobbing deeply. Kin asks if she's okay. She doesn't respond and he wonders who she is, how she ended up there, if she's a ghost. Kin yells that he's talking to her and asks if she's a ghost or a zombie, but the woman doesn't move. The boy gets angry and says she's trying to scare him on purpose, but he can handle her easily. Kin approaches until he shines his flashlight on the girl. When she turns, what he sees of her face is eerie, completely white with black, hollow eyes like 2 pits. Kin is terrified and runs off, but the girl tells him to wait and says she's human. It was the flashlight and Kin's fear that made her look so scary. The boy is startled and looks at her. They sit down. Kin says that if she's human, she should have said something earlier. The girl responds that she thought he was a hallucination, so she ignored him. The girl says she's been alone for a long time and thought she would die there alone. Kin becomes thoughtful. He asks if she has food and offers her some. The girl thanks him. The boy comments that she doesn't look like a miner and asks what she's doing in that place. The girl says she's not a miner, but to escape the zombies, they had to go in there. Kin asks if there are others with her. The girl hugs him. The boy asks if she's okay, and she complains about the cold, asking if she can stay close to him. Kin says they can't rest for too long because he has a mission to complete. The girl says she hadn't seen a living human in a long time and just wanted to feel his warmth for a few moments. Nervously, Kin agrees. She thanks him and moves closer to his neck, saying she'd been alone for a long time. Kin notices something strange and pushes her away, asking what she's doing. She replies that she likes him and they should live together. The girl kisses Kin on the mouth. She leans in, but the boy pushes her and shouts for her to stop. She looks confused. Kin says she's definitely a ghost trying to drain his energy. The girl says she's not a ghost. She says she has her own warmth, something ghosts don't have. Kin is confused, but agrees. Then she tries to get close again. The boy swallows hard and says no, he has important things to do. First, he decides to take her out of there and leave her somewhere safe. They walk through the tunnel. The girl asks how much longer they'll keep walking because her legs hurt. Kin is confused. He thought that was the way, he even marked the walls. She complains of pain and Kin asks what happened. The girl has no shoes. She explains she lost them while fleeing for her life, so Kin carries her on his back. Smiling, she says he's very kind. They keep walking. The girl grabs Kin's ears and says they're red. Kin yells at her not to touch his ears. Hurt, the girl tells him to forget what she said about him being kind. He's mean. Frustrated, he says he just asked her not to touch him, but the girl says it's fun. Kin asks her not to squeeze him so hard with her legs. He starts noticing that the more they walk, the more lost they seem. Worried, she asks if they're trapped in a ghost maze. Kin says he doesn't know about ghost mazes, but he did team up with a crazy girl in red. She's offended. Then something happens. Kin is startled. A group of men approaches. Kin says they must be the survivors and asks if the group is okay. Then he says it's good to have found them together. One of the men asks if Kin is lost too and says they found the way out, telling him to follow them. Fearfully, the girl whispers in his ear not to go. She's terrified. They're not human. Kin concludes it's strange they know where the exit is but went through that path. If they wanted to rescue him, they'd have no way of knowing he was there. When he looks back, he doesn't see the girl. She simply vanished. His back turns cold. Kin wonders if she really is a ghost. Up ahead, the men tell Tin to follow them. One says that mine is a maze and he won't make it out alone. Smiling, Kin says he'll go with them. He wants to see who they really are. Kin follows the group. Behind him, the girl in red stands still, watching Kin walk away. She says she wanted to play with him a little longer, and she warned him. After walking a bit, one of them says they've arrived. Before them is a very bright light, as if it's the end of the tunnel. Kin wonders if it really is an exit, and if they weren't lying to him. One of them tells Kin not to stand still and to hurry up. Kin approaches the group, but when he steps forward, he notices something. He wonders what that is. It's a village. Kin questions where that village came from. One of the men tells the chief that they brought another member to the village. Children try to get Kin to play, but the village's old chief tells them to calm down. The children keep clinging to Kin's hands. He thinks that since the apocalypse, everyone's been worried about food or getting bitten by zombies, but the people there seem calm, something he's never seen before in the apocalypse. In a wooden house, Kin sits at a table full of food. An old woman is serving and says she hopes he enjoys it. He asks if they have farmland there, and the woman confirms, saying that's where everything comes from. Smiling, the woman tells Kin to eat. She serves his plate and insists he take a bite. Kin prepares to take a bite, but he stops. The woman is staring at him like a mad woman. She tells him to take a bite, but Kin starts to get scared. In an old wooden storage shed, there's a creature that looks like a mutant zombie made of several fused bodies. The old woman enters and speaks to the deity, saying another person has arrived in the village. It's a strong young man. She's happy to see the village growing with more and more people, all thanks to him. It was his presence that had always kept them alive, and they were grateful. The woman cuts a piece off the creature with a cleaver. It falls into a tray she holds. Then she thanks it for the gift. Later, it's that meat that was served. The woman insists that Kin eat, but he says he's not very hungry. Sternly, she says she made it especially for him and asks if he will even take a bite. Nervous, Kin apologizes but says he doesn't want to eat. With the strange atmosphere, he doesn't have the courage to eat. Smiling, the old lady says it seems Kin really isn't hungry and that she'll prepare something else for dinner. She calls the children and gives them the food. They start eating the meat happily. Kin reflects that the children seem fine eating that, and maybe he's just worrying too much elsewhere. Kin asks a miner how he can get to the Earth Alliance base. The man says Kin just arrived and already wants to leave. Doesn't he want to settle down there? Kin laughs and says he doesn't plan on staying. He has other things to do. Then the man says the only way out is the same path they came in from, but he can't guarantee Kin will make it. But it's thanks to the difficulty of that mine that they're safe from zombies. They're grateful to the village chief who rescued them. He asks why Kin doesn't stay, saying the village has enough resources for them to live. Kin reflects that the village is paradise for those who suffered, but something doesn't feel right. At night, a man goes to the village chief and says Kin disappeared, then asks if he might have returned to the tunnel. The old man says that can't happen and orders them to retrieve him. If he's not rescued, he may be trapped in the cave forever. The man replies that it's almost time. Then the old chief agrees and says they can't keep the deity waiting. They'll greet it before searching for the boy. In the shed where the grotesque monster is, the villagers gather, and the old man says they're there to pay respect and ask it to continue providing enough food. The villagers extend their arms to the deity. The creature releases its tentacles. They reach out to the villagers and attach to their arms. Absorbing what they have, the monster is pleased. The old man says that's all and tells the creature not to be disappointed. More people will arrive soon. The new miners also need to meet the deity. The old man orders them to be brought. The miners arrive. One of them asks why the chief wanted to see them. The old man says it's time for their initiation ceremony. The three enter. The door closes behind them. One of them jumps in fright upon seeing the creature inside. The others are also shocked and shout that it's a mutant zombie. The group tries to flee, but is blocked. One of them asks if the people there are crazy, saying the thing is a giant zombie. The old man tells them to calm down, the creature won't hurt them. He's standing right next to the monster and it does nothing to him. That mutant zombie truly doesn't even touch the old man. The village chief tells the miners they don't need to be afraid. It's okay to approach. The men slowly begin to walk closer, and the old man asks how their dinner was. One of the men says it was tasty. It was the first time he had eaten fresh food since arriving at the village. The elder says that when he was young, you could buy good food anywhere, but that was decades ago. After the apocalypse, 90% of animals were infected, only a few were protected, and normal people can only eat infected meat, but doing so you won't live past 40. He says he had to eat that meat once. If he hadn't made it there, he'd probably be dead by now. It was all thanks to meeting that creature. The village only exists because of the deity. As long as they regularly offer blood to the deity, it will continue to produce fresh meat for them. That's why there's always food. The miners are shocked. One man asks if they were eating that meat, and the old man confirms it all comes from the monster in there, all because they offer fresh blood as part of its diet. It's even producing more meat now. The man says all that pink meat is edible. The men are disgusted. Then the old man continues, saying the delicious meal they had for dinner came from the deity. The monster makes strange noises. As more meat grows from its skin, the three miners vomit. Someone grabs one of them, who panics, and the old man says it's time to offer blood to the deity. The three are restrained and taken closer to the creature. The monster's tentacles approach them and are terrified. Meanwhile, Kin walks through the night. No matter how far he walks around the village, he always ends up in the same place. It seems the only way out is through the cave. He hears screams coming from inside the barn. It's one of the miners shouting that the village chief is a lunatic and begging to be let go. Kin is confused by the screams, but the girl in red suddenly appears beside him and asks him to wait. She says they already become zombie food. It's too late. Kin is startled by her sudden appearance and asks if she's human or a ghost. The girl asks if he really wants to leave that place, and he confirms. So she says that ever since he entered, he's only been walking deeper into the realm of the dead. There's no way out. The village is part of the lie. Once someone enters, they can't leave. To survive, they must offer their own blood. So if Kin wants to escape, that's the only way. He must go in and kill the creature. Once it dies, the place will naturally vanish. Kin says she came out of nowhere and asks why he should believe her. The girl tells him to go in and see with his own eyes. Inside, the miners scream. Kin and the girl approach the window. She says she told him it was true. Those villagers are sacrificing their own blood to feed a zombie and then eating the tumors that grow from it. Otherwise, they'd have nothing to eat. Kin shouts for them to stop. The girl yells at him not to act suddenly. She hasn't finished explaining her plan. But Kin starts using his power and yells for them to release the men. He quickly slices through the zombie's tentacles. The old village chief panics. Kin shouts that the zombie is disgusting and that he'll kill it. Then the old man yells no and steps in front of Kin's strike. The boy ends up wounding the village chief. Kin is left speechless. He didn't think someone would risk their life for a zombie. The old man begs Kin not to hurt the beast. Kin yells that it's not a god. It's just a zombie feeding on their blood. That thing must die or they all will. Then the elder says it's not a zombie. It's his brother. He remembers his brother and how happy he was to see him. He had just bought food for them and gave his little brother an apple. The boy asked when they could talk to their parents again, but the man told him to go back to his cartoons. Time passed, and the zombies overran everything. The man tried to get his little brother to be quiet, but he was too scared. Everyone fled. The man led the group and decided they should rest. His brother asked what they'd do if the monsters caught them, but he said he was there to protect him. The child fell asleep, and the zombies came. The boy woke up in terror. His brother was fighting off the monsters, trying to hold them back. But the door wouldn't hold much longer. The man shouted that he had been infected and told them to grab his brother and run. A woman screamed for Zhang Hong. His little brother was desperate for him. The boy said he wanted to stay with him, but Zhang yelled at them to go. The child cried hard, and his brother told Xiao Lu to survive. While he lived, there would be hope. The woman took Xiao Lu by the arm and led him away. The boy kept crying for his brother. The zombies broke the door and swarmed over Zhang. A little further away, Xiao Lu collapsed on the ground, heartbroken. The woman told him that wasn't a place to rest. The boy told the group to go and not worry about him, but the woman tried to lift him. If they didn't hurry, they'd be left behind. Xiao Lu said his whole family was dead. If he hadn't been a burden, his brother would still be alive. He said he caused everyone's death. The woman slapped him across the face and told him to keep going and end all of that, then asked if he'd forgotten his brother's last words. That Xiao Lu should live while he was alive, there would be hope. He didn't just need to survive, but fulfill what his brother wanted. 10 years later, it was raining heavily, and Xiao Lu was inside a place. Outside, the zombies were about to break through. A man says that if they're accidentally infected, they'll be in serious trouble. The group's doctor tells them to stay inside until the rain stops. The doctor is Zhang Lu, 22 years old, and he helps take care of the group members. The group notes that without Zhang, they wouldn't have advanced as fast. A good doctor is worth more than 3 evolutionists. If they keep doing well, they'll owe him a drink when they return to the faction. Suddenly, a loud noise echoes. The group is startled. Zombies are invading. One of them says it's impossible. He scouted the building and there were no zombies. Another yells for them to grab the supplies and get outs. Someone else shouts there's no time to grab the supplies. They start fighting the zombies. The doctor yells for them to carry the wounded first. But there are too many zombies. Zhang falls to the ground and is attacked by the monsters. He screams as death stares him in the face. But then something happens. A zombie stops in front of him. All the others stop attacking. Zhang is confused. He looks up and recognizes that zombie protecting him is his brother. He stands up and stares at his brother. The boy is terrified. Far away, the expedition group returns with many supplies. Everyone gathers to help them carry everything. A man complains that one of the boxes is too heavy. The guy says it's the last box and asks him to carry it. Excited, the man says he'll leave that one for the doctor. Something bangs inside the box. Months later, A man asks the doctor if he can save his soldier. The doctor says there's nothing more he can do. Then he covers the body and tells the soldier to leave. He'll take the corpse to the morgue. He pushes the stretcher through the hallways to a certain room. The doctor enters a place filled with bodies and says finally someone died that month. His brother must be starving. Even though many people die during the apocalypse, it's hard to find suitable bodies. The zombie emerges from the room and approaches the body. The creature smiles. The boy says he injected enough sedative into the man to let him sleep peacefully, then tells his brother to eat slowly, but the zombie eats violently as always. He devours everything. The next day, a man says he has a question for John Liu. Some people say the bodies of his patients don't match up in some areas, so he asks to see the medical files. The boy gets nervous and says he may have gotten the dates wrong, besides he has too many patients to manage. The man agrees. That's true, and in this chaos, it's impossible to keep everything perfect. So he tells Jean to keep doing his work, and he'll take care of the issue. The doctor thanks the hospital director. Later, the doctor brings another body and says his brother's appetite has grown. If this keeps up, people will notice. But not to worry, he intends to find a solution. He tells the zombie to eat quickly. The creature is no longer human in form. Someone suddenly opens the door. The doctor is startled. It's the director, who asks if it's Jean Liu's fault. On the floor are many pieces of the dead patient. The boy says it's not what it looks like, and he can explain everything. The zombie won't hurt them. The director shouts that they can't let the zombie escape and orders the guards to be called, but the doctor yells not to do that and to listen to him. Suddenly, John's brother strikes both of them. The zombie takes them down in a single blow. In the end, the director's death didn't help Zhang escape because the guards arrived. They had to flee and hide in the mine. But his brother did nothing wrong. He only protected him. The old man begs Qin not to harm him, saying that without his brother's sacrifice, none of them would have survived until now. The girl in red enters and shouts that it's easy for him to say, but many innocent people were deceived inside that village. In the end, the goal was to feed his brother. An old woman says it was their choice. The village chief is right. Thanks to the deity, they survived. Staying there is their decision. The girl is outraged and asks if they've already forgotten how they tried to force the miners earlier. The old woman says the first offering is always that way. Afterward, it gets easier. Everyone there offers their blood willingly to the deity. She can ask them herself. Qin says that if that's how they feel, he won't interfere. But they must understand he and the others don't want to remain trapped there forever. The old man replies that if Qin wants to leave, they won't stop him and he'll ask his brother to let him go. Turning to the zombie, he tells it to allow Qin to leave. The creature opens a portal. Qin and the girl are shocked. The girl is indignant. She waited for that exit for years and had even been deep inside the zombie. Qin turns to the group and asks who wants to leave. No one answers. Qin asks the miners, but they say it's not that bad and they want to stay. The girl urges them to leave that place. Qin reflects that if he killed the zombie and forced the people to leave, he'd destroy their lives because the apocalypse has made life worse than death, fear, and rage. That's how they live. The outside world is a real hell. A portal opens in the middle of the jungle. Qin steps out and wonders why he was the only one who left. A man goes to the Lord and says he has something to report. Qin Shuang is outside and wants to meet. The Lord says to let him in. The boy arrives, and the man asks how the mission went. Qin apologizes and says that for various reasons he couldn't complete the mission. The Lord slams the table and says that wasn't their deal. Qin was to complete the mission and the Lord would save his friend. The Lord says he upheld his part, and Qin didn't. Qin says he can help get the supplies the Lord wants and will still keep his word. Then the Lord says Qin already broke the deal and compensation won't change that. If Qin wants to change the terms, then he'll leave his friend near death again. Qin gets angry, but the Lord starts laughing and says he's just joking. Now Qin owes him 2 favors, and the Lord will think of a way for him to repay. But first, the boy should go see his friend. Qin goes to the hospital. There, Ruyo lies in bed. The doctor says the bullet fragments were removed, and thanks to her accelerated healing as an evolutionist, she'll be out of bed in a week. Qin thinks he hears someone asking if Ruyo is his girlfriend and saying she's beautiful. He asks if the doctor said something, but the man denies it. The boy gets nervous, unsure if he's hearing things. Later, Qin is asleep. He feels strange and uncomfortable. He senses something under the blanket. When he looks, he sees something moving. He lifts the blanket and is startled to see the ghost girl. Qin kicks her hard. The girl flies across the room and asks if he's human. How could he kick a girl like that? Qin asks if it's just her and says he thought there was a ghost under the covers. Outraged, she complains that he always calls her a ghost. She says she has a name, Jay. Qin asks if she's hurt. Jay says she'll forgive him this time since she only escaped the mine thanks to him. Qin tries to go back to sleep and tells her to go back where she came from. The girl says not to ignore her and asks if he doesn't want to know how she'll repay him. Jay says she doesn't like owing people. It makes her feel guilty. And if he lets her repay him, he won't regret it. Qin stays silent for a moment, then grabs her arm and pulls her toward him. She tells him not to be so hasty. Qin asks her to be quiet and says he hasn't slept in days. He just wants to rest. He hugs her and pets her head. Morning comes. Qin wakes up and wonders where Jay went. Meanwhile, The Lord asks someone to summon Qin Shuang. He reflects that if Qin left that mine alone, beating Kichi wasn't just luck. Now he owes him 2 favors. With Qin on his side, his base will have flawless defense. Over the years, he never skimped on security. That's why it's so strong. A soldier enters the Lord's hall and says he has a report. They sent men to Qin Shuang's room, but he wasn't there. The Lord is shocked and furious. He orders them to check if the girl is still at the hospital. Seems like that boy is trying to trick him. The Lord storms into the streets enraged. The people are alarmed. The soldier says they didn't find Qin, but his friend is still in the hospital, so he definitely hasn't escaped. The Lord says he ordered the soldier to keep eyes on Qin and not let him escape. The boy apologizes and begs for another chance. The Lord grabs his own head and says keeping that soldier around is just a waste of resources. The guard shouts that he'll find Qin, but the Lord keeps squeezing the soldier's head tightly. Suddenly, Qin appears in the middle of the crowd, shouting for the Lord and saying he's the one he's looking for. Qin says he brought a gift for the leader, something he won't be able to refuse. The Lord looks at Qin Shuang and asks where the boy was and why his men couldn't find him. Qin laughs and apologizes, saying he had to step out to prepare the gift. He's glad he made it back in time. If he had taken a few minutes longer, that soldier would have been dead. 4 hours earlier, Qin had reflected that there were too many guards around. The Lord clearly didn't want him leaving. From his past experiences, that Lord isn't as nice as he pretends to be, so Qin had to act fast. Then he had an idea and made a dimensional jump. He returned to the real world and sat at a computer. He searched for the best restaurants around. He looked through the rankings until he found the perfect place. When he got there, there was a huge line. Qin would have to wait some time before getting in. He joined the line and wondered what would happen if he cut it. With his speed, no one would notice, but that would be really rude. A staff member came out the door and said they only had ingredients left for the next 3 people in line. Qin was happy to be one of the next 3, but someone appeared behind him, furious, saying they had been waiting a long time. The person shoved him and told him not to cut in line, then stormed up to the staff member and asked if she knew who he was. She replied that he was some kind of online celebrity. The girl said that even if he's famous, they still had to follow the rules. The man got furious and asked how that place could have such incompetent staff. Qin muttered that the guy was insane and questioned whether someone like that should even be a celebrity. Then the staff member told Qin to go in and enjoy his lunch. But just before he entered, the man grabbed him by the shoulder. Qin told him to let go. So the video ends here. If you don't want to miss the next part, activate the notification bell, and see you next time on Tob's channel.